Computer is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Hello and welcome to eRacing GP. This is Global Edition 12, the 12th time we've done this, and it's Friday night fun. We do a whole bunch of online racing here in Global Edition 12. We're around 3 of 4. My name's Alex Young, and with me is Amo Hazik. Amo, what are you looking forward to tonight?
Well, coming up first is, of course, the Copper class. I'm looking forward to more close action because I think it's a great thing we chose the MX-5 cars for this one. Don't you think, Alex? It's been providing some really good action.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we go to the onboard action, we're racing at Silverstone this weekend.
Yep, the 5.9, just under 5.9 kilometer long clockwise circuit with 18 corners and some of the most famous names in the motorsports world being named here, of course, because you know cops, especially with the Hamilton Verstappen crash last year, Stowaway, Schumacher injured his leg and all that. We have plenty, and Magazine Beckett, let's not forget,
absolutely,
the fastest sequence of corners in any track in the world. So great to see whether or not the drivers today can handle this.
Yep, absolutely, of course. And we were just at Silverstone for Formula One. That was last weekend. And if you can look right now, you can see the pit buildings. Drivers just finished practice. Qualifying is about to start. Hasn't started just yet, though. So let's have a look at the Copper standings right now. We're in rounds, I think, like I mentioned, 3 or 4. So here are the Copper standings after round 2.
Yep, and it's being led currently by Adam Daniel from Brunei. We sort of got confused whether or not he was Bruneian or Malaysian, but in the end, it was clarified that he's Bruneian, and he's leading the way by just 4 points in front of both Lavinesh Mohanair and Adri Ahmed. Adri's still keeping on strong here. He might actually sneak in for a shout as the youngest ever champion in GP, Alex.
Absolutely. He's only 7 years old, guys. 7 years old. That's pretty cool. And then onto the team standing, Stratos Motorsports, who's won this championship so many times, out in front. MPRGP just lagging behind a bit, but that Indonesian team really one to look out for. Biff Racing in third, Veloce Regatta in fourth, and rounding out the top 5, GSR Esports, a well-known team really for us here at eRacing GP.
Yep, and unfortunately, that's probably not the updated standings that I was taken for the Brunei, but either way, Brunei in there, they're actually in front of Sri Lanka and India. Malaysia have a very close lead at the top there in front of the Philippines. So that will be one to watch out for in the Nations fight because it's much closer this time compared to previous years, Alex.
Absolutely, it is close. It'll be nice. Indonesia's not won a global edition. We've seen Philippines win. Not sure Singapore won, but mostly it's Malaysians. Mostly we've got a lot of Malaysians come to this championship, but we call it global editions because we have had drivers from all around the world compete in certain aspects. We've had an Italian winning gold, Ottovani. We've had people from even as far away as Bahamas compete, but mostly for this global edition, a lot of guys from Asia Pacific. We're still in practice, just finishing. We are going to qualifying in just a moment. I tell you what, we are at Silverstone. Should we do a hot lap?
Indeed,
we should do a hot lap, shouldn't we?
Indeed, we will. And incidentally, we have Miko Nasi doing a hot lap, but this is from, it might look like from a few seasons back, but it's still relevant now, isn't it, Alex?
Absolutely.
Alright, welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for a lap around in my Mercedes-AMG DTM car. The Silverstone Grand Prix circuit's been around since the late 40s. Used to be an airfield before that, and is considered the home of British motor racing. Turn 1 here, ideally in qualifying trim it's full throttle. I just mistimed it a little bit there, had to lift. And this area here is one of the main overtaking zones now, especially the non-DRS overtaking zone. That's part of the newer layout that I believe was since 2010. And now in Wellington Straight, this is a good DRS overtaking zone, long enough straight to fly past the other guy, but you also have to watch if you go on the inside here of someone, you might end up outside in Luffield and then be forced to fight it out along here on the straight. And now we're at what used to be the start-finish line over here, and the old turn 1 cops. Looking for the 50-meter board there for the braking point, getting on the curb on the inside, and letting the car flow out all the way on the exit, and then we get ready for the really fun Beckett's complex. The timing of your turns is super important here. It's really easy to lose a lot of time, especially if you mess up that last bit there, because you'll lose a lot of time here on the hangar straight, which is another great DRS overtaking zone. And coming up to Stowe Corner, ideally getting right onto the inside at the apex. Don't want to run too wide out there. I just kept it on track. And then our final slow bit here. Super patient getting back onto the throttle. And then a full throttle final corner to finish off our lap. Wave to the crowd, say hi to your parents.
Yes, say hi to your parents will be the key thing for Adrian, especially the fact that his dad and mom will be watching with full intent, especially when there's a championship competition online, isn't it, Alex?
Absolutely, and that's right. It is heating up the championship. This copper class, we saw earlier on, 3 drivers very close to each other, neck and neck. Not really sure who's going to win. We're now into qualifying, and we're riding on board with Adam Daniel, who is our championship leader.
Yeah, by just 4 points. And I was interested to see the livery that he was running on this car. He's running an Ambi livery, incidentally. I hope I got it right. If Adam's listening to this after this, I'm pretty sure that's Nakano Yatsuba, but he could correct me on that.
Yeah, maybe he'll come into the comments and let us know. Yeah, yellow and purple. Lovely.
But the color of the car doesn't fit the color of the girl on the enemy car. But anyway, criticism aside, it's pretty nice to see that there's a few people running custom liveries here today. Yeah. And Adam is almost front of the line, incidentally, so he is not messing about. He wants to get his lap out of the way quickly.
Yes, not the most attractive of colors, I would say. Very interesting, though. It looks a bit... Yeah, anyway. Yellow, Adam is about to start his lap. Hasn't started a lap yet. It is a long lap at Silverstone, so these guys in the MX-5, they're only going to get a couple of laps, aren't they? It's a great beginner car.
It is.
Yeah. Why is it so good?
It's very beginner friendly, as we will have to allude to. Plus, the fact that it's not as heavy as other cars. If you consider it as a road car, very lightweight sports car, coupe, whatever you want to call it. It's really beginner friendly, and it doesn't take much to just chuck it about. So you can still grab it even if you're losing control. So that's why it's a perfect car for beginners. Okay, well, Adam Daniel, our champion leader, is at the front at the moment. And we're watching on board right now. Here's who goes to turn, this is turn 4, isn't it? Through turn 4, and easy flat to the next corner, the turn 5, Wellington Straight, which leads onto the Wellington Straight, shall we say. Overtaking opportunities. You go under the bridge. This is the bridge that goes to the Formula 1 paddock from outside. Yeah, lots of overtaking opportunities here. We'll see some guys coming into here. So they break into Brooklyn. Yep. That's right. Past the BRDC building, where a lot of drivers hold membership there. I had passes to that this year actually, but obviously I wasn't going to go because the air tickets are too expensive. Yes, and you still have, I think, the bulletins that come through every month, and you have hold of it. So we get to see how BRDC affiliated drivers perform throughout this season. It's crazy. I'm a BRDC member and I've never been to that place. One day, Amo, you and I will have to go. Yes, love to see the behind the scenes on that one. As we are now coming through Cops lovely corner taken in single-seater, especially if it's a 2021 Formula 1 car. It's almost flat there, but if you're Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton, you wouldn't want to be reminded about going side by side, of course.
Yeah. Now to the Beckett's complex. Probably, maybe one of the best sequence of corners in the world. If it just had a little bit of elevation, I think this would be even better than Eau Rouge.
Indeed, but I think it would be too much of a roller coaster, don't you think? Because being flat as it is, it's quite easy to see left and right. Because if it goes like very flowy like a wave, you never know if cars can step out too much.
Absolutely, and you would have cars stepping out. It's so high speed, and as we've seen at Spa, you know, if you're unsighted for a bit, you can have not nice moments happen.
Yep, we don't have to. Well, I want to mention that, but it's just out of respect because what happened to Dylan Van Toff is a freak accident. It could happen to anybody on the racetrack, especially when Miss sort of hangs over Spa, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Now coming through farm, Adam Daniel has had a very two first names just to make it confusing. Comes through the last corner. He's had a great middle sector. He's closed the gap a lot to the car in front. This should be good enough to keep him on pole for now, I think.
Yep, 2:26 is his fastest time. That's 2:28 for now. Elder Shakawi was the guy in front of him. He only could improve a bit. Oh, Lavinesh Moaner actually has gotten onto pole position, so that's a very good time from Lavinesh. He's also not messing about. He wants to actually make up for the fact that he missed qualifying last time out in Imola.
Wow, really good to see Lavinesh up there. I don't know why the name on the leaderboard just says L, just to make it a bit more complicated. Maybe he likes to be a bit undercover.
I think because he filled his name as his first name, you know, they have two text boxes. He filled it completely with his first. Anyway, Lavinesh is on pole. His brother, Sharvinesh, right behind him, is also in second place, 2/10 behind.
Well, we've seen that before when you get family members practicing together in the same household. They tend to egg each other on and become extremely quick. It seems to be happening here.
Yep. And the fact that it helps also that both of them are actually quite fast, so they can actually just pick out each other's driving style to see whether or not they could get any faster through the circuit. Now then, qualifying has ended. This is quite quick because, of course, it's a long lap for the MX-5 cars, so that's why it only takes about at least 2 laps. So most of the guys that have crossed the line, they have started their second lap. 4 guys have finished, 5 in fact, have finished their qualifying, so they cannot improve anymore. Well, we're watching here Lavinesh and Sharvinesh Moaner, whether or not they can actually improve their lap times. Sharvinesh is being, oh no, he's further behind. Lavinesh is being held up.
Oh gosh, that's going to stop him from improving. He's on pole for now, not sure if he's going to stay there. What about the guy that's third in the championship? Adre Ahmet. He's pretty far down. He's under some pressure here, only down there in P8. And there he is on the inside. You can see him driving there. He's only 7 years old. There he goes to the car. He's another interesting colored car. What's that? Yeah, turquoise and blue. Got some sponsors there as well. I love seeing the eRacing GP logo on that. That's a guaranteed way of getting us to follow your car when we see our logos on it.
Indeed. And the fact that it's a nice use of colors, the gradients again, is a bit of blue in the front, darker blue at the back. It's quite nice usage of colors. His dad actually made a livery, by the way, so Dr. J. Logan can put livery maker as part of his repertoire.
Yes, absolutely. Well, he's had a pretty clear lap from what we can see so far. He's just got a couple more corners to navigate. You see Adrian there soaring at the wheel. Really some pretty fast inputs there. Comes to the last corner. Let's see if this is an improvement. I think it will be. Will it be? He had pole, let's not forget, in round 2.
Yep. Oh, Adam Daniel goes faster, 227.4. Adrian, well, doesn't really improve, doesn't he? Lavinesh is second. That's crucial because both championship rivals have gotten gotten some points from qualifying, but Adam Daniel has gotten more than Lavinesh, so that's 1 extra point in the gap.
Wow, superb by Adam Daniel to make that happen right at the death. He'll be super happy with that. 5 points for pole position, if I'm correct. So every point counts at this point, so to speak. Of course, this is race 1 will be coming up in a while, and then race 2 will be coming up after that. Race 2 will be a reverse grid as well. So we really challenge our drivers not to just be quick over 1 lap, but to make sure they have the right racecraft, make sure that they're nice and strong, don't make mistakes. Before trying to do a reverse grid race, which it's all about overtaking, you know, because the top 10 get reversed, and it can be all sorts of interesting stuff. Okay, we have quite a bit of time between qualifying and the race. We could go for an ad break, I suppose, and we should talk about our sponsors. Life Apparel, make the great shirts. Royal Slang will make these brilliant trophies that the winners will get. X-Park, and of course Axel Sports. So thanks very much to our sponsors. We could go to another ad break, but what do you think? We could do also maybe highlights from Gold Class. What do you think?
Yeah, maybe, but because we're gonna show a goal a bit later anyway, so
Yeah.
we'll probably just head on over for a slight short break. Then we come back to the action.
Okay, guys, we'll be back in just a second.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless.
Okay, we are back, guys, because the race is about to start.
And we are underway here for the copper class, and it looks as though Adam Daniels gotten a very good start, but Lavinash Mohamed is gonna dive on the inside. Ainel Yakin, a returning Ainel Yakin, is trying to slot in between them, as it looks as though the drivers are making a clean getaway through the first few corners. All 29, 30, 31 cars, in fact, that we've had in the server, all coming through safely as Lavinash dives one on the Sarpinash dives on the inside and hits Adam Daniel.
Yeah, Adam really didn't know much about that. He's got hit again. That's really bad luck for Daniels. Wow! Just getting hit by cars left, right, and center. That's our championship leader.
And luckily he got pointed the right way around, actually, in between that collision. Dominic Chen was the one that actually finished him off that time, but he still got about 14 minutes left to go here to just tackle and get back up to the front. But that's not the start that he would have wanted here, given the fact that his championship rivals are up in front.
Oh, absolutely. But there's enough time, though, and we've seen that he's got quite good pace. So I think he could certainly move up and score some good points. Very important not to panic at this point in the race, however.
Yep. As we are going to leave him for a while here. We're looking up in the front. This is looking very rosy for Lavinash Mohan Nair, and his brother's right behind, about a second behind. So maybe Sharvinash and Lavinash might have worked out something here to try and rear gun each other and to help out Lavinash for the championship. So coming up to Cops then, it looks as though Ainel Yakin is the only one pressuring Sharvinash Mohan Nair here for position, as we are now coming through Maggots and Backets.
Okay, yes, halfway through the first lap, Lavinish looking really good there. Yeah, wow, he'll, second the championship. Is he going to be celebrating right now? Or will he be focused on the fact that there's still 13 minutes to go?
I think definitely he'll be focusing on the job at hand, because 1 second even in these cars is not much of an advantage. One small mistake and a spin will be enough to get you back into the clutches of drivers behind us. So we have already a first retirement from this race. Odi Devanugraha is out of it, so he didn't have such a good start. He will focus probably coming back into the second race. But what a start there from Lavinash. We thought that Daniel might have gotten a better start out of that, but it looks as though Lavinash actually just got a better jump, and Sharvinash followed suit.
Yeah, so it's brothers brother duo first and second in this race at the moment. Wow, yeah. So I mean, the brother, didn't he? Cavendish actually had contact with Daniel, didn't he? But that really wasn't too bad because Adam Daniel recovered, and then it was a second car that just kind of finished him off and put him right down to the bottom of the top 10.
Dominic Chen, Dominic Chen, the Filipino for the Rush B team. He's the one that really finished him off. And to clear the record is actually Itsuki Nakano, so I hope Adam doesn't come back and message me that I was wrong for that.
That's the cartoon character, what do you call it? Anime on the side of his car.
Anyway, so battles further behind. We actually saw Adriamit's name turn red for a second, and he's dropped all the way outside the top 10. Still in the points in P13, but not the ideal start for the youngster as well. He is looking really like he's going to have his work cut out here, or maybe it could be his drop run, Alex.
Well, yeah. Well, it's not over yet as well, I guess, because he just needs to make sure he's in the top 10. Because if he's in the top 10, he'll be at the front for the reverse grid race. And he can maybe get some good points. But you're right, this is round 3, and he's had 2 good rounds. So he's run wide there through Brooklyn. So this could be his drop round. You're allowed to drop. You must drop points from your worst scoring round between 1, 2, and 3 before we hit round 4. And that's really just to try and help guys, because we are online, aren't we? This is an online competition. Sometimes you can be really unlucky and get disconnected just through a poor internet connection. So we do allow a drop round in our championships, so just so that a guy who's unlucky enough to get a disconnect may be able to recover.
And there's Elde Shakawi there. He's just run a bit wide coming out of Cops. Let's see whether or not Reyes can actually make a move out of that, and he does. So Mohamed Reyes goes up to P8 now, as we have a camera that we want to show at the moment. It's a few guys with some interesting transitions. That is actually another driver with a anime name, Rin Miyazono, and he's not a girl, unfortunately. That's actually a girl's name. As a few drivers going off further in front there, quite a few drivers going off, but Miyazono is not involved in that one. He's actually battling there behind with Yogi Presetio.
And there you see the insert right now. He's got an interesting backdrop, hasn't he?
It's Gran Turismo 2, yeah.
Yeah, Gran Turismo 2. There we go.
Driver behind.
Oh, he's got cars to the left of him, cars to the front of him.
Yep, Ignatius Valentino scooting up right beside him on the hangar straight. He's incidentally also driving with a keyboard and mouse, so you can see if the car jerks a bit, that's because he is not having the best of inputs, and as I've said it, he probably wished that he could turn more before taking out another driver as one driver with literally connection straight out of Africa.
Yeah, and Miyazono got a front row seat to all that action. His car's disappearing behind him now as well. We'll have to go somewhere else, I think.
Yep, Yogi Presetio was the one that actually got taken out there, as we are seeing a battle for P10, Hendra Kusuma right behind Elde Shakawi. So that's a battle for the fringes of the top 10, but crucially this is pole for race number 2. So Kusuma might want to score more points here, but he'll be right at the front if he keeps his position now. But again, the racing driver would not want to do that. They wouldn't want to jeopardize points for just a better starting position in the second race. That would mean not if he doesn't get a good result here.
Yeah, good point there. Kasumo there, only 2/10 behind the car front. Ooh, dives on the inside from way far back. That was a bit rough. Do you think that was too much?
Yeah, it was too much, and Kasuma realized that himself, so he's given the position back not only to Sharkawi, but he also, in his haste to get back the position, he's going to lose out here to Sachita Moremada. They're going side by side as well, door handle to door handle. This is what we were expecting MX-5 cars to be racing like this, and guess what? We're having it right now. It's really good fun, but the guys at the front are just way ahead. They're just seeing themselves out of here.
Indeed. Well, good racing there. Morimada giving Kasuma some big space in Cops, and is he able to just get in front of the excellent Cops?
Indeed. We're just keeping an eye on this battle because this is about the closest battle on track at the moment. Apart from the top 5, it looks as though that particular juncture is clear for now, at least until we get back into them. Christiansen, the driver in 5th place behind Dominic Chen, so he wasn't available in the second round as well. He's back here for round number 3. It looks as though now a bit of a stalemate. Ana Yakin in front is holding 3rd position, so he's the linchpin. He's holding that coveted podium position right now, as both of the Mohane brothers have actually cleared ahead in front.
And I am pleased to say that less issues with track limits. Fingers crossed, touch wood as I touch my forehead, because the last race we had so many problems with track limits at Imola, but seems that the wider track here at Silverstone is allowing drivers to just stay on the right side of getting those track limit penalties.
Indeed. And it goes back to the point of whether or not we could bring back the argument of track limits with either grass or gravel. We saw how Formula 1 had that problem with 1,200 infringements throughout the entire weekend. Was it weekend or the race?
Yes, that was so weird. I mean, it made... I know why the officials do that sometimes. The officials are like, we're going to draw a line in the sand and we're going to have to make the drivers understand you can't do this. But it just looks so amateurish, right?
Yeah.
You know, the drivers they were genuinely trying to do it. They were genuinely trying not to get a penalty. But it's so hard to see, and it was a bit of a farce, really.
Indeed. And luckily we don't have, well, we had our own version of that kind of farce before, but that was because the game itself was telling the drivers not to do it. So I think they really put the line in the sand, as you said, to just say, nope, you can't do this, don't do that. But it's unfortunate that there's also collaterals where drivers who were not involved in that initial incident were knocked out and still got a penalty out of it. So really there's nothing they can do about it because that's just the nature of some circuits. Imola, for example, is a very tight circuit, so if you have nowhere to go that day, you're just going to have to back it off completely, cause an accident, or go off the track and just get more penalties.
That's right. This is a great track though for racing. I'm a little bit surprised because it's a bit spread out at the front. Okay, there's a great battle here going for third position with 5 cars fighting for this piece of tarmac. So this is turning into a good battle, but the first 2 have just disappeared. Normally at Silverstone, these sort of slow cars, you have a really big slipstream effect, and we actually get the pack staying together quite long. But that's showing you what a good job the brothers Nair have done at the front, and this pulled away.
Yep, and they're working together, of course, because they do not want to have the same problem they had in the very first round of Mugello, where I think it was Lavinesh that hit the back of Charvinesh. Charvinesh went spinning. He didn't protest that time, so I guess they just want to keep it within themselves and just sort it out over the dinner table. But again, that sort of thing is where you have, it's nice to have somebody under the same roof and just coordinate the battles. As speaking of battles, Christensen probably just got ahead of Dominic Chen there. Dominic just looking a bit squirrely. Christensen around the outside there takes P4, but Dominic has problems of his own here. He's going to have to deal with Muhammad Farhan. Oh, he's diving quite late there. That's really late defense, but that should be about clear, isn't it, Alex?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, they were super late at the braking there. Adam Daniels behind him must be going, go on, brake later, run off the track, make it easy for me. But he's had a good recovery, the yellow and purple car in P7. He was 11th for one sport at that point. Good recovery.
Indeed. And we thought that, well, that's just the end of his race, isn't it? But you're never going to tell drivers, especially who are in the championship battle, that they're going to give that up easily. As he now looks onto the inside, we're going to jump on board here and see from his point of view how that battle looks like. And it looks as though Dominic may have lost a bit of momentum coming out of the village section into farm, and that is Adam Daniel up to P6, but it looks as though he may have actually run it out a bit wide because Dominic now fights back and they're going to go side by side on the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, I think it was a nice move to put it down the inside of Chen, but yeah, wasn't able to get the exit he needed. And wow, Chen's super aggressive there, defending the inside. I think they may even have touched a little bit on the Wellington Straight. So yeah, they'll have to sort that out.
Yep, they did actually. I think that would have been a collision right there because it looked quite unnatural that Dominic went out way too early to defend. So a bit of a touch, but luckily good car control was required there, and he actually got it under control before coming out to Brooklands.
Okay, they've actually spread out quite a bit now. They're on 3rd all the way down to 7th. Just half a lap ago they were all together. Now they're spread out. Now we're looking at the battle for 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th and 14th. And Adre Amit, who's just in front of Francis Dorato, has got up to P10, which is perfect really, because if he can stay in 10, that means he'll be in pole position for race number 2.
Indeed, and the fact that it'll be a good recovery drive as well for him, because he would love to be in pole position and hold that up in the front. As Lil Adri there he is in the inset, looking rather, well, not to say pensive, but really sawing at the wheel just to keep the car on the road. These are quite tricky cars to drive, especially given the fact that pressures are very important on these things.
Yeah, and yeah, here we go. This helicopter view, I thought it looked quite good, but it doesn't look too good. It's too 2D from that view.
Yeah.
But yes, Adrian just holding up to P10 at the moment.
I'm not sure why the camera angles in Silverstone just look like that. It's just look too far.
Yeah.
And sometimes when it's too close, you can't pick up much of the action. So Unfortunately, we don't have any custom cameras for that one. But either way, we're back on the action here. Adrian still holding on to P10 and crucially pole position for race number 2. So in a sense, that'd be a good recovery for him, especially given the fact that his championship rivals will start further behind and might come a cropper as well if they were to be not careful.
Okay, good battle for P3 still. Oof, that's like we see that Christensen runs wide a bit. This is not over. 2 minutes, just over 2 minutes to go. And Christensen is right there, only 6/10 behind. What's that going to be? Is one more lap after this? 2 more laps after this, perhaps? No, I think one more. This might be the last lap, actually.
Yeah, I think so because it's such a long lap here. It's easy to forget that you can lose all track of time. And speaking of that, only 6 laps completed, in fact, after this. So it's a short race in terms of lap duration, but that doesn't mean that we're going to have... it's not going to feel long because of how the circuit is so big for these cars.
Yeah. Brooklands or Prairie, Brooklands, and then there's this right-hander coming up Luffield. This used to be a double right, now it's just one corner. And Christensen just looking closer. He's got to get a good exit. Ooh, runs a bit wide, or shall we say, Yakin just runs a bit narrow, shall we say? And Christensen's going to get a really. Oh, they've touched.
Oof! Oh, you won't want to do that. You're gonna get into the eye of the stewards if you actually block too much there, Einal. So he's gonna have to watch his mirrors and his car here not to actually get into a silly collision with Christensen. Christensen, on the other hand, really looks like he wants to get P3 by hook or by crook. He's trying also left and right. He's going right on the outside here. We're going to go on board now with Christensen. Where is he going to be? He's going to be on the inside. There's Einal on the outside. Side by side they go. And I think they might have touched there. They're touching a second time, Alex. And
whoa,
why he goes.
That's a cut track. That's going to be a cut track for Yakin. He'll have to slow down, I feel. Had a big cut track there.
Absolutely. And the in-game stewards may have actually told him that one. This might be a bit confrontational between these two guys post-race. But for the time being, at least, Christensen is still in 4th somehow.
Okay, as they go through. So, ooh, looks to dive down the inside. That's a tidy move, actually. Very tidy move. He'll have to defend in the next corner, though.
Yep, and he'll have to go very narrow now as they come up to the Vale chicane. As we see, Lavinesh Mohane may have crossed the line here to start yet another lap. Yep, 2 laps to go. This is the final lap. So 7 laps at least is the duration of the race. But the battle for P3 is still well and truly on. And when these two were battling, the guys in 5th all the way to 7th are battling Adam Daniel, but I've gotten the better of Dominic Chen that time. So he has pursued the guy who actually pretty much finished him off at the end of the first 2 corners. He is now back up right in front of him. So good recovery here for Adam Daniel.
Absolutely. He's as you can see, we are at Copper class, so these are very experienced drivers. And you do see sometimes in racecraft, they're a little bit tentative when they're trying to overtake. I thought Daniel was very careful as he's trying to get past Chen. Maybe wisely, maybe just not quite confident yet. But we don't see quite the cut and thrust moves that we'll see later on in bronze, gold, and silver. But yeah, it's nice to see how much they've improved since round 1.
Indeed. And we just saw last time out in Imola where there was just mayhem everywhere. They didn't make it into the first corner before they started going off. So at least it's nice to see that the Copper guys have mopped up their act somewhat collectively and gotten through safely, at least until somebody breaks the chain.
Yeah. Touch wood again as I touch my forehead.
Somebody's out of the race, and it's Ahmad Fahmi Ismail. So unfortunately, he has actually gotten out of here. So he's into the pits, probably due to some sort of error with his car or whatever. He's actually, yep, he stopped there.
That is a shame. Well, anyway, back to our leader though.
Yep, if we can pick up a leader.
And his fastest lap is a 2:27.
Yep, well in fact that could be his last lap, but that is actually still quite fast because 2:27s is pretty much qualifying pace, and there has been stopping him since the start of the race after overtaking Adam Daniel, where Adam looked like he was slacking off a bit at the start. Lavinesh was there to pick up the pieces. That's further behind. We're going to see a 3-way battle here. I don't know what they will look at you, Alex, because this is going to be really, really interesting between these two guys. They've already had some fisticuffs at the start. In fact, this is actually Muhammad Farhan, so it's Indonesian versus Malaysian versus Indonesian. Again, around the outside he goes. Lavinesh may have actually gone through the final corner here. So where is he? Lavinesh coming around now through the start-finish straight, and that is it. That's the victory for him. That's win number 2 for this season. But where is it? Oh! Big accident! In fact, one of the guys went off the curve. That looks like Farhan's actually got onto the curve. And through goes Adam Daniel. He picks up the pieces here to go on to P3.
I got a feeling we're definitely going to get a steward's report from one or maybe both those drivers as they went through farm. That was a big collision. See who could break the latest, and that's costing that final podium spot. But what a great result for Adam Daniel. He would have been, thank you very much. That's really useful for his championship.
Yeah, damage limitation, Alex. That's what you would love to see, isn't it? Because sometimes you get the luck of the draw, whether or not it's through your own or whatever. But oh, there goes Adrian across the line, but it's after the line anyway. So a bit of a collision there. He was running in P10, now he dropped to P12. So at first it looks so bright for him to be up there. Now he's actually outside of it. So damage limitation as well for him.
Yeah, and you can look at him there. He's not happy. He's really upset. He's going to start P12 for the race instead of on pole position. So shame for Adrian, but that's the part and parcel of motor racing. You sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose, and you just have to deal with the disappointment. Deal with the highs and lows.
Absolutely. And in this case, it's just one part of trying to battle for the championship. It just sometimes how the cookie crumbles.
But again, congratulations for Lavanish and Shavanish, the brothers in first and second. First time we've seen that in Copper, perhaps. We've seen that happen in a few other classes before.
Yep, first time in a while we've seen siblings actually first and second, so that's quite nice to see. But you can tell that one of the siblings is probably going to play rear gunner after this if it comes to the punch.
Okay, we got a bit of a break between race 1 and race 2, so we're going to be right back after these messages from our sponsors. Hello and welcome. We're back. We just had race 1 of the Copper class done. Got a little bit of a break. Race 2 is coming up. Drivers are right now getting ready. A few of them might be running off to the toilet. Quick bathroom break before jumping back into their rigs. Of course, if you're new to eRacing GP, this is an online championship. We host, I think, 3 times a year. This is called the Global Edition 12, the 12th time of hosting it. My name's Alex Young, and with me is Amo Hazik. We've just had race 1. Championship rivals really going at it really close and tough. Getting our dinners delivered as well, so that's pretty cool as well. So that's why we're all happy now. Be interesting. And as they start to line up for race number 2, we'll actually see the drivers as they start lining up. And there they are on the grid right now, getting ready. Of course, this race is a reverse grid race. Here at Global Edition, it's not just about being fast. It's about racecraft. You know, we do want to show drivers and give them the platform to show how fast they drive. But it's one thing to drive, it's another thing to race.
Indeed. Sometimes you could be fast in a time trial session, but you have racecraft that is pretty much, well, questionable at best and rubbish at worst. So it's quite nice to see that when we get everybody together in a race situation, that's where we can see who truly shines when they come through. They can be fast in qualifying, and some could actually just translate that into actual race pace. So that's why we unveil these kind of talents even through the lower classes. Yeah.
Okay, we've got another minute before the race 2 starts. So our championship rival, who is actually, I think he's winning the championship now, Lavanish Mohan Nair, he will start in P10 after winning race 1. And Mohammed Rudi now will be on the front row with Mohammed Rice in second position.
And we have to jump back up to Adrian Ahmed there, P12. He'll probably be looking a bit forlornly up in front, considering the fact that that was at one point a good position for him to start in P10, P1 after finishing P10. So again, it's a case of, well, it might have been.
What might have been. And actually, oh great, we got Lavinish on Zoom as well now, so that's great. We can watch him drive as well later on. But yes, if he's P10, he's our championship leader right now, so he'll have to make sure he has a good race.
Yep, we're going to focus now to the start here with Muhammad Rudi up in front, with Muhammad Raiz right beside her. That would be quite confusing in the post-race when it's both Muhammad Ars. But away we go then. 5 lights go out here in Silverstone for the second race for Copper. And it looks as though Rudi gets off to a good start. And it's not like what happened in race number 1 where Daniel wasn't. But through the first corner, it looks as though Reyes may have actually gotten a better second phase of the start. Side by side they go as Hendra Kazuma spins into the crowd, right into the rest of the field. And I hope that no one got caught up there. While quite a few drivers go off, as one driver with really bad connection jumping all over the place. But it looks as though Rudi manages to hold on to P1 as Sachita Morimada taps the side of Reyes, and Reyes goes on big time. So Sachita then once again being involved in a very huge collision.
Okay, and further back, championship rivals. Wow, look at that, they're together.
Yep. In fact, I think Lavinash is on the inside this time. The timing screens are being updated as we speak. Sharvinash is further behind as they're going to come up to Brooklands now for the first time. And it looks as though Daniel takes it very wide indeed. And
jumps on the brake. That was very strange. He tried to avoid the car, but he didn't really need to brake. Over adjusting, I think, to the cars around him. And he's just dropped from P6 all the way back down to P9.
Yeah, indeed. The fact that he was being a bit too cautious, don't you think, Alex?
Absolutely. We're on board right now with Lavinish, actually, and you can see he's had a really great first lap. There he is in P5. It's the red car, guys. But the guy in the middle, the red car that's in the middle of the screen, you can see there's a bit of damage on the left side of that car. He's had a few scrapes to get through. But to go from P10 to P5, he'll be super happy with that.
Indeed. And again, this is looking good for his championship, isn't it? Because that's all he wants to aim for at the end of the season. He had a couple of tries in previous seasons prior to this, a bit incognito, but this time he knows for sure that with the bit between his team, he's going to come and get it. As Adam Daniel then has a big one, going side by side with Lavinesh's brother, Sharvinesh, as we are now looking on board with him. He's clear from the rest of that pack with those guys in the midfield where they can cause a bit of mayhem, but he's looking out for them in front now, way behind further than he was at the start of the race.
Yeah. And I have to say, I think, you know, Adam, over one lap, maybe he's actually, over the course of this Global Edition 12, he's been slightly quicker than Lavinish. But when it comes down to the racecraft, as Morimada there goes down the inside of someone, when it comes to the actual racecraft, I think Lavinish has been a bit more consistent.
And speaking of Lavinish, there he is now being swamped by some of the other drivers in the field. And that lays it back to the hands of his brother Sharvinesh. And look at that, Sharvinesh is not really attacking him, isn't he? Because I think they might have communicated together here not to be too engaged in battle and just drive as clean as possible, because there's a bit of a gap between himself and the chief championship rival right behind him, whereas the other championship rival is now in P13 as side by side they go. Those guys in front, Dominic Chen and Mohammed Farhan, and Lavinish says thank you very much, I'm having that, but he taps.
That's a bad one. That's going to give him a penalty. I don't know who that was, but that can drive a protest.
That was Farhan.
Lavinish, a bit clumsy there. He'd actually already done one overtake on the corner before, and he got greedy. Sometimes that happens. You think you got one done, let's do another one. Too greedy. Just tap the car in front into a spin.
Yep. Now it's probably going to be damage limitation again as Sharvinesh dies one on the inside of his brother. That will take a position away from him now.
Yeah, so Lavinish, I think he's going to have to count on the fact that he might have a penalty for that. He's going to push on and try and get a nice big gap, so he can try and score more points here in race 2.
Yep. As a guy up in front is Muhammad Rudi, so Rudi's actually gotten a clear getaway up in front, and that's what he needed, because with Reyes just now side by side beside him, it would have been easily a fight all the way up to the next few corners, knowing how these cars are easy to fight with side by side. He's got Christiansen, his fellow countryman for company, so at least he knows for a fact that he could rely on the guy behind him being a countryman to just not fight too hard. Yeah,
it's really good first couple laps as well by Christiansen. That's another driver that's just done a really good job. I think he was 5, I think, at the start. So good to get up to P2.
Yep. As well, side by side there onto the hanger straight. Let's see what's going on. There's someone further behind spins. That looks like Dominic Chen. No, in fact, that was Dominic Chen. That was Mohammed Farhan. So Farhan's been tapped a second time, and that's pretty much put paid to any points that he's going to score in this race. As we go further up in front, what's happened here to Figo Rustandi? He goes onto the inside of Francis Dorato, and Adriami gets involved between as well. So lots of action happening here. It's almost hard to keep up what's happening left, right, and center. But what's for sure, it looks as though one driver is not going to come up with the goods this championship weekend, and we're looking at him right now. Adriami is having a bit of a tough round in this one. Across the line we go. Lap number 3.
Lap number 3 of a 7-lap race. Still a lot to go. Still a lot can happen.
Yep, indeed. And given the fact that the championship completion is changing corner by corner, literally, because of the previous lap, what happened to Lavinesh, he just tapped out Mohammed Farhan into a spin. That's going to cost him a few points here, especially given the fact that Adam Daniels right behind him right now. But crucially, having won race 1, he's got a bit of a safety net. He's not, but he just doesn't want to be too sure about it, because we've had instances in the past where drivers look like they had the championship sewn up in the bag. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a driver just comes in and just takes it in a very final round. So we had that already by Team Techno's Naval Setyawan, who really came out of nowhere during the final 2 races and just stole a march on everybody to take the championship that time. As we're looking at Adam Daniel here, he's looking to replicate that. He's got Dominic Chen right behind. So these two are almost inseparable since the first race, where Dominic looks like he's just stuck to the rear bumper of Adam Daniel, but Adam managed to get one over him in that one by re-overtaking him for position.
Dominic Chen then all over the back of Adam Daniel. Daniel, he's got the speed. He put it on pole just a few minutes ago. He just needs to settle down. Look, he made another mistake there, running wide through Cops. So this is about the thing about racing. You need to be able to perform when the chips are down. Sometimes you can produce the lap, but it's about not making mistakes when you're under pressure. And unfortunately, that's what's happening to Daniel right now in the purple car. Just too many mistakes when he's put under pressure.
Yeah, probably he needs to just work on racing with the pack more, especially given the fact there's a lot of drivers here that he may have not raced against before. As you can see, Dominic then around the outside, he's looking to just re-overtake or overtake him for position, whichever matters. We're going to see a position change here. Right around the outside he goes, and it looks as though he manages to... No, he didn't get it that time, so he ran a bit wide, and Adam Daniel just protects his position, as Adriami then goes out to P10 and the final point scoring position here too.
Good to see Adri up there. We know he should be running the top 5. Oh, someone's braking really late there. Oh, Rustandi braking super late. Lucky Amit saw him and gave him some space at the apex. Otherwise, for sure, those two cars would have come together.
Yep, and Figo Rustandi, we saw just now how he would be a bit uncompromising when he wants to come up to an overtaking position. So luckily, Adri saw him there that time and just give way just a bit, but it also spooked Rustandi into a bit of a mistake himself, because he ran over the curb and lost momentum, where it could have been a side-by-side action right there.
Okay, Adri, they're braking on the racing line. Shouldn't need to defend. Rustandi's way too far back, but oh gosh, he does have to defend. I think Adri just braked too early there.
Yeah.
Too early, and it allowed Rustandi to just slip his nose down. It's the other thing when you're in front of someone, you can't be too defensive. You need to still attack, otherwise, you try to take it easy and someone's still going to come down the inside of you.
Yeah, you want to attack the corner, incidentally, because you do not want to leave that door behind you open. Yes, I think we know for a fact that there's the Verstappen rule that exists, but sometimes it's quite nice to just defend quite late and just spook the guy into a mistake. Oh, that's a big one there from Figo Rustandi, and Figo goes off into the grass. Adri now has Reyes for company. Reyes at one point who was actually at the front row, so he's trying to fight here for the final point paying position in race number 2. They're going to go side by side as Mohammed Rudy and Christensen swap positions up in front. We're going to have to focus on that after this, but here we go then, coming out to Cops. I think it might be a familiar position for a lot of drivers, or even for the fans who have seen this before. Side by side through Cops. Is it possible for Adri? Yes, he does. So no move there for Reyes.
Some of these cars look quicker down the straights, Amon. Is that because they have a manual shifter? Because Adri on this lap, on all the straights, looks like he doesn't have the straight line speed of Rice and Rustandi as well. So Do you think they might have manual shifters? Because that does help with acceleration, doesn't it?
You're right, actually, because we saw like last season how Nabil actually had a H-pattern gearbox to use for the 191 Jordans, and that actually did help him out a bit because it just helps him with that he could clutch in and maintain the rest themselves. Whereas when you're in the sequential gearbox, you don't have that kind of luxury. Your gear selection is determined by the fact that the clutch comes in how the game decides it. So there's a bit of a compensation for that. You lose about half a second-ish of power on that.
Per lap? Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, so really it does hurt. Well, not half a second, maybe like less than a tenth of a second, you know, half a tenth. So that in compensation for the fact that they want to pretend that you have a H pattern to use. So that's why there's a lot of power that can be lost on the straights.
Okay, we are on board with Rudy, and we did miss the lead change because Christensen is now in front of Mohammed Rudy. So we missed that. Maybe Rudy made a mistake, but Christensen now leads that race.
Yep, and he's clear away by about 1.6 seconds. So that will be Christensen's first ever win in eRGP as well, because he's been there or thereabout, but this is the first time where truly he can feel that he might be in a position to win, as Sachinta Morimada has got Lavinesh Mohanai for company. And again, look at that. Sharvinesh is, I think, has a buffer between his brother and the rest of the field as Elder Shekawi retires. Sachinta with a bit of a boisterous move on the inside there. Lavinesh actually just goes one in, and again, around the outside he goes. That will be the inside line after this and gets P4 out of there. But Sachinta with not only a very harsh, somewhat harsh attack, but very boisterous defense too.
Yeah, those changes of direction are a bit severe, especially when you're coming right into the corner, because an easy result in contact between the two cars. You know, drivers kind of have a rough feel where you are in these race situations, but if you do a sudden move like that, it's impossible to predict those sort of moves, and it often results in contact.
Absolutely, and sometimes those kind of contacts are oftentimes race-ending too.
Absolutely. So, okay, Lavinesh, he's in front, P4 now. Let's see if he can put the hammer down. Can he actually go and do a couple clean laps here to try and close down the gap to P3? That's a bit wide. That's too wide.
Yep, and the fact that his car's well and truly battered on the left-hand side, you can see so many scuff marks there. In case it points, the scuff marks on his car, where he's on this hanger straight now. Whether or not he can actually keep that position coming up to the Stowe corner. Around the outside goes Sachinta. He's got the position ready, but Lavinesh is well and truly aware of that and keeps P4 just for the time being. But Sachinta knows that he could try to dive on the inside. Lavinesh has to defend here, and he does. Whoa, good racecraft there. Again, he just blocks a bit late, but that should be okay.
Yeah. Morimada from Sri Lanka there, getting quite racy indeed. Just making a few mistakes there, and now he's under pressure, big pressure.
From Sharvinesh, incidentally. So Sharvinesh, Mohanair against Sachinta Morimada. Morimada again throws out a block, but this time this is quite fine. It's not too late. But oh, they're going to hit each other side by side. Tokyo drifting, tandem drifting. There you go. Wow. Somehow they saved that. And Adam Daniel would like to say thank you very much. I'll have plenty of that.
Wow, Daniel again getting very lucky with a car going off in front of him. Makes two places in two corners.
Yep, but Sachinta and Sharvinesh is going to go through. Oh, Sachinta hits Sharvinesh. Sharvinesh in turns pinballs into Adam Daniel. And Sharvinesh has to give that one up because he knows full well that it was his fault to begin with to just set off that chain reaction.
Wow, and it's all happening now. 2 more laps to go, and every point counts. That's how hard this championship is going down. They're fighting for every piece of tarmac.
And guess what? It also affects the championship big time up in front because Daniel has now lost a lot of ground to Lavinesh. So in terms of damage limitation, for this round, he's taking a bit of a battering considering that he lost pole in qualifying to Lavinesh. First race he finished, I think, P3, a couple of positions further behind from where Lavinesh was. So that's about a good chunk of points, about 10 points, I think, lost overall. So what was a 4-point lead now will be just a 6-point swing back to Lavinesh's favor. And if things keep up this way, it will be another 3-point swing to Lavinesh. So he'll, in the end, have a 9-point lead himself.
Of course, we do have to factor in the drop points. We'll have to look at the drop round where the driver drops the score from their lowest scoring round. Should still be quite close, but of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Lavinesh because there was that one incident that if he does get protested, if he does get, say, a 5-second penalty, that won't be too bad. But say he gets a 10-second penalty, Wow, this is really going to put him down the order.
Yeah, especially given the fact that so many incidents are on board, either from him or for somebody else. It's going to affect the results big time after this. But we'll wait and see first what the stewards will think of that. As Sharvinesh now has Adam Daniel for company. Adam Daniel on the outside. There's no way through there to defend and gets through right now. But if we're going to go on board with Adam Daniel, let's see whether he can retaliate.
Looks to the outside. Oh, and Shamlish breaks super late there, but makes the corner actually. Well defended.
Yeah, amazing. How on earth did he actually save that one? Because I thought for sure that if you go way too narrow and way too fast, you're not going to break. But maybe he used a bit of a higher gear to just slow the car even further and just mash the gearbox afterwards. So that's why he could just save it through. But we're on the last lap. Christiansen 2 seconds ahead of Muhammad Rudi. So that is for sure the race win for him, unless something dramatic happens in the final lap, which is going to throw the can of worms into the air.
Wow, fantastic to see Christensen. I think that'd be his first win.
Oh, that's Lavinesh taking Ainul Yakin. And that is now going to change the complexion of the race as well. As Ainul Yakin gets completely sent into Narnia, we have Lavinesh now on the crosshairs of the stewards. And Ainul Yakin with his haste to get back onto the track after that collision. You test happen because you're under pressure. You just want to get back in the race and you spin out a second time.
Okay, yeah, well, let's see. That we saw that a bit late, so we're not really sure whose fault that was. But from that small snapshot, it doesn't look very good for Lavinesh, our championship leader.
Yep, so a lot of work for the stewards to do post-race, but it's not a lot of work up in front, as Christensen only had to deal with Muhammad Rudi up in front, and it's been plain sailing since then. Coming out through Cops now, we're going to see yet another new winner for this season as we come through to... Oh, there's a car jumping off through the screen, 88 miles per hour, Back to the Future style. I'm not sure who's that, but Christensen looks as though he's going to be fine here. We're going to go on board with him now. There he is, so luckily it wasn't the race leader that went out of the way. Through the lot. Oh, that's wide. And I did say, if something dramatic happens that's going to throw a spanner into the works, he just provided a bit of entertainment for Muhammad Rudi behind.
Wow, running wide there. That could have easily, he could have easily swapped ends there. He could have easily spun out of the lead there. So good save, I think. Maybe a few nerves coming in. This might be his first win in the eRGP.
Yep. And I'm not sure if he races elsewhere around the Indonesian region because they have so many sim racing competitions there, but intercontinentally, this might be his first ever. So coming out to the final corner then, through Vale. And for the last time, as we see a car stopping on the side of the track there, that might have been Abid Asri, who's giving way very nicely indeed, but he's flashing his headlights up in front. It's going to be a win for Christiansen and for the Java Sim Racing team. He crosses the line in delight. Unfortunately, we don't have a camera with him, but he will no doubt be fisted off. Second is Muhammad Rudi, and third is Lavinesh Mohanaim, but pending some penalties along the way because that was a huge collision that he had with Ainul Yakin.
Okay, well, we have to try and get a conversation with Lavinesh, see if Lavinesh is ready to talk to us. There he is right now, taking off his headset. Can you hear us, man? Congrats on winning race 1. You want to talk us through the 2 races?
Yeah, race 1, well done to my teammate, my brother. We managed to pull off the gap, first and second. Race 2 was quite tough because we started from 10 and 9, but we had a little bit of incidents here and there, but otherwise it was managed to get on the podium. That's good.
And okay, we have to talk about race 2. I mean, I think you are leading the championship at the moment. Great to go from 10 to P3, but there were a few incidents.
Yeah, there were, but it's all thank God I'm on the podium to get back to the points, and it was a very well race, but a lot of drama.
Okay, well, congratulations anyway in that, and I think you are our championship leader right now. And good luck for the final round, which is happening in just over a week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so Amo, what did you think? You enjoy that?
Yeah, pretty much. I wish it was actually much closer because you see how MX5 global races in IMSA, they can go all the way to the line 3 or 4 wide. Maybe we haven't had that yet. We'll have it in the final race of the season, but very good races. Not gonna lie. Just the championship complications involved made it had a bit of an edge to it.
Absolutely. Okay, that's Copper done. We got bronze, we got silver, we got gold coming up as well. The bronze guys are in practice right now, and we'll start qualifying for bronze on the hour. So we'll be right back after these few messages.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Hello and welcome. Welcome back to eRacing GP. This is Global Edition 12. My name is Alex Young, and with me here's Damon. Damon, good to have you with us.
Thank you so much for having me. It looks to shape up to be quite an exciting race, especially since we saw the Copper Leagues.
Yeah.
And it was an action-packed 2 races that I had there.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, we are at Silverstone. It's a 5.9 kilometer track clockwise. Formula One boys were just here last week. We know what a great track it is for racing, for driving, and overtaking. A little bit like Spa, really, in that fact. Have you driven here before?
I have, but it was quite some time ago. I think the first experience I had on it was probably Gran Turismo 6, and that was all the way back in 2013, I think.
Okay, well, we're on board. Let's see who's anyone is out on track. This is still practice at the moment, not missing much. This is the bronze class we're looking at right now. They're driving GT3 cars. We'll talk about the GT3 cars. Always a favored class to drive. But first of all, I think we should have a look at the standings right now. This is the bronze class. And you can see Kanzani Ramdani there. He is leading the bronze class after 2 rounds. This is round 3, of course. Mohamed Irfan there in second. Cameron James in third. Amir Harris in fourth. And Ronaldi Wijaja there in 5th position. I'm squinting a little bit as I look at that because I can't really quite see what I'm looking at.
And it's very this particular round. I think it's quite important for the current standings here because you can see there's
Stratus Motorsport.
there's not a lot of gaps between the rest of the pack compared to first place. I think, which is like 106.
I'm glad you're squinting too as well, not just me.
I've even got glasses on.
Yeah,
This is not working.
Stratus Motorsports in first, MPRG in second, Biff Racing there in third position. And of course, we have a Nations Cup here in eRacing GP Global Edition because we've got so many countries taking part. Malaysia dominating that a bit at the moment, although Indonesia was leading earlier on. Philippines in third, Singapore in fourth, Sri Lanka in fifth, and India there in second position. Okay, so we are looking, countdown now. Practice is just about finished. And we're about to start in qualifying now as well. It's very close here in bronze class, and really, to be honest, bronze class has some good racing. And it's the first time I think you're joining us for Global Edition, Damon.
Yes, it is.
But I think it's going to be quite fun. Oh, you can hear the cars right now as they leave the pit lane. Who should we follow first? Let's look at the championship leader right now. There's Ramdani.
Ramdani right there in the BMW Z4 GT3. It was kind of a bit of a shock from I was watching the Copper League earlier and they were all just driving MX-5 Cup cars and now immediately graduating to these GT3 monsters.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a jump, but that does mean we'll get more laps, more speed, perhaps more intense competitions. All these cars are relatively as well matched, probably not as much as the MX-5 cars, but still the same.
Yeah, and they are beautiful looking cars. Look at the lovely rear wing, front splitter, brakes glowing as it brakes. Really some good cars there. Okay, so Ramdani there is in the BMW. Else is out there. Second in the championship right now. I'm just trying to remember who's second. It just got Cameron James, I think, is second in the championship. Oh, he's
Pure white R8 elements.
wow. All white. And quite a gaggle of Ferraris here as well. Ferrari obviously a very popular car.
Yeah, I seem to recall that Audi probably isn't as popular as maybe some of the other manufacturers that have taken part in these. Ferrari is huge. I think BMW is also pretty good. Again, Audis do outnumber Mercedes and Porsches. Weirdly also, we only see maybe 2 Porsches on the grid right now.
Well, okay, well, this is the warm-up lapping. You see Cameron James are just warming the tyres, getting a little bit of, trying to get the heat into the tyres. But yeah, no, I do love this class, you know. We always get good racing in bronze. You know, they're not quite as polished to say gold or silver, but these are very good experienced races.
Yeah,
so we do see good racing.
Yeah, definitely. This is the point in time where you can see drivers start to not only increase their skill level, but also hone their racecraft and discipline. Which is the most important part in racing, is being able to drive as fast as you can while still contending with other people on the grid.
Okay, well, going through turn 1 now. Ramdani, first car out track, starting his first proper lap.
You see here a quick time being set already at the beginning, a 2:06.1 set by Ramdani here. Everyone else is just slightly off the pace, but qualifying just started, so we can definitely see these times start to be more consistent and closer to each other as we progress.
Yes, looks quite clean so far. Hitting those apexes, hitting those braking points. It's good, but how important is it to get a good banker in qualifying, getting the first lap done?
I think for qualifying, the first lap is always kind of a non-factor in the sense where you're just getting familiarized with the track, you're getting your tires warmed up, you're on your out lap, trying to see how far you can push the car. From the second lap onwards is probably where you're going to start putting in the pace, but you also have to contend with the fact that there might be traffic to deal with as well.
Okay. All right, so looking really good through here. Goes through Cops, one of the fastest corners on Silverstone. Fastest corners in the world, really. This next bunch of corners here, Maggots, Beckett's. Look at him just carrying that speed through there. We go on the cockpit camera. You can hear the gearbox whistle. So he now comes onto the back straight.
Short shifting a little bit on the exit there.
Down underneath the bridge. Into the third sector. Comes down to Stowe.
And you can see they're not entirely pushing the cars as much as they could have, but that's just a matter of whether or not they're comfortable and familiar enough with the track to be able to get that extra 10 or 1,000 second.
Okay, sees Ramdani comes across the line, see where that's going to put him. I mean, well, it's going to put him on pole for sure because he's the first car across the line, the first guy to do a lap.
And we can see here as he crosses the marker at 2:01.8, which is a much market improvement over the outlap qualifying. But let's see if anyone else can stand quite close to that time.
Okay, let's see who else is out there. Mohammed Hakimi is not out there at the moment. He's also another driver I expect to go quite well.
Yeah, as you can see, the times are already coming in. You can see a lot of cars are not actually even coming close to the 201 set by Ramdani here. Everyone else in the 203s, 202 there by Amir Harris. 202.9, almost 203, which puts Ramdani in a very, very comfortable pole position.
Yeah, excuse me there. Yes, Ramdani looking really good.
That's Alex over there. As we're coming here, they probably have one more lap in them just before we cut to the end of qualifying here. Ramdani very comfortable, 2.1. The only sub 202 time here. Everyone else within 203s, 204s. You can see here Mohammed Hakimi in the white McLaren 650 SGT3. Oh, what a beautiful car.
Wow. Quite surprised to see Hakimi all the way down there. Let's follow him on board right now in the McLaren because this is a driver I really expect to be in the top 5 or 6 positions, really. Let's see if he gets a cleaner lap right now. He shouldn't be this far down.
He's also the only McLaren on the board I can see right now.
That is true. That's another reason to follow him. But Hakimi there, you can see him on the insert there right now, racing from home. All these drivers racing from home or from the office. 207.2 for a lap time is not brilliant, really. But he's got some traffic to contend with.
And that's the thing with qualifying, because as when you're on your qualifying lap, you do not want to contend with traffic because it means people are not giving way to you because they want to set their own fast laps, right? Yeah. So it does raise a bit of issue when it comes to, oh, look at those flames on the McLaren.
That's beautiful, beautiful. And I just wonder, is that Cameron James? No, Cameron James is over here, so he's going through Stowe right now. So it's the old Audi. Hakimi's really getting slowed down. This is really going to compromise him big time.
He's going to be able to make it pass, I think.
Yeah, but he would have been slowed down already anyway. Let's go to the other championship rival right now, Cameron James in P4. He's got to get on the front row if he's going to fight with Ramdani for the championship. Let's see as he goes across the line.
Oh, 202.8. Still not nearly a second down on Ramdani here. But that would be enough to put him on the podium, which is, I think, he'll be satisfied with.
Yeah, he'll be quite happy with that. P3, not too bad.
See some disconnections here. I think Jonathan Takumi ended up leaving the server. Hopefully he'll be able to come back in time.
Yeah, let's see if we can get back in. Ramdani, though. That's him. He's across the finish line. So that is the end of qualifying for these drivers.
Oh, you can see that Irfan just barely not making the time there. Starting quick lap at 201.9. Only a 10th behind Ramdani here. A late cover,
yeah,
but a very fast lap indeed.
Okay, so Indonesian front row. Ramdani first, Irfan second. Issa Faud there in third. Cameron James fourth. Amir Harris there in fifth position. Good, quite a couple of BMWs up there. Porsche in second, Ferrari in third. So, yeah, some interesting positions there.
Then we have the triple threat Ferrari pack rounding up 6, 7, 8. Amirul Afiq, Dani Effendi, and Jonathan Takumi, who I think managed to rejoin the server back in time. He is going to be starting at P8 with Malik Fakhrul and Muhammad Lukmanu rounding off the top 10.
Okay. All right, guys. We're just going to go for a quick hot lap right now before the race starts. And here's a hot lap with Miku Nasi.
All right, welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for a lap around in my Mercedes-AMG DTM car. The Silverstone Grand Prix circuit's been around since the late 40s. Used to be an airfield before that, and is considered the home of British motor racing. Turn 1 here, ideally in qualifying trim, it's full throttle. I just mistimed it a little bit there, had to lift. And this area here is one of the main overtaking zones now, especially the non-DRS overtaking zone. That's part of the newer layout that I believe was since 2010. And now in Wellington Straight, this is a good DRS overtaking zone, long enough straight to fly past the other guy, but you also have to watch if you go on the inside here of someone, you might end up outside in Luffield and then be forced to fight it out along here on the straight. And now we're at what used to be the start-finish line over here, and the old turn 1 cops. Looking for the 50-meter board there for the braking point, getting on the curb on the inside and letting the car flow out all the way on the exit, and then we get ready for the really fun Beckett's complex. The timing of your turns is super important here. It's really easy to lose a lot of time, especially if you mess up that last bit there, because you'll lose a lot of time here on the hangar straight, which is another great DRS overtaking zone. And coming up to Stowe corner, ideally getting right onto the inside at the apex. Don't want to run too wide out there. I just kept it on track. And then our final slow bit here.
Okay, race about to start. Ramdani with a great start. No, not a great start. Irfan there goes to second.
Squeeze the wheels a little bit at the start, then gives on the rest of the pack to come squeezing by. You see Muhammad Irfan and the Porsche coming in, going wide. There are a few cars, Ferrari, BMW all there. We'll get back to it in a second, but it looks like Ramdani had to give up his position to Muhammad Irfan there in the Porsche. You see Cameron James there fighting with Muhammad Harris for position of 3rd place right now. You see
Yeah. Okay, yeah, absolutely. Okay, as we just get back to the pits and we drive. There we go. There's our car, the broadcast car. And back in the action there, Irfan there. Amaral, I think they had a very good first lap. Good start there. He was in the mid-pack and he's already up to P6.
Yeah, good job for them. It was a bit of an incident early on, but it seems like everyone's managed to tidy up their act as we now settle into our positions. Coming up, I think this was the Cops.
That's right, Cops corner right now. Amaral there looking pretty good indeed. This is the bronze class.
You can see already some fine racing happening here, but it looks like the front 2 cars are now pulling away from the pack as we go on board of Amir Afik in the Ferrari 488 here in 6th position, but fighting with 3 other cars for possession of 4th place. P4 right now. Okay, over here. A lot of deciding factors. There's a lot of deciding factors when it comes to the Silverstone has a lot of long straights that let you really open the taps, but at the same time, you kind of have to make sure you don't overshoot your braking zones.
Yeah, you have to watch that. There is a lot of room, as you know, but it does make it very tricky indeed. But I think the Amaro there, keeping it nice and clean, he'll be happy with P6. We should, though, go back to the front there. Irfan there doing a good job of holding off from Dani at the moment.
Seems we're not able to switch camera points right now. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, see Irfan here. Front 2 cars so from Dani and Irfan pulling away from the pack. These cars are really, really fast, but it's also really easy to just slowly edge out the gap. Once you're in clean air, that's when you really get to unleash the potential of the cars that you're driving. And Irfan in the silver, gray,
Fog grey, maybe.
yeah.
But yeah, look, he's looking nice and comfortable out there in the front. Really, actually showing some really good pace there. Dani runs wide there through Brooklands. But yeah, the 2 of them just, Dani runs a little bit wider there again. Maybe that's intentional because he gets a good slingshot out of Luffield as they come now through Woodcut.
Yeah, but he needs to find a way to stay in the toe of Irfan just so he can manage to find an opportunity to make a pass happen later on. And these white lines he's taking, they're giving him good speed on the exits, but they're also making his entry into the corners a little bit slower than you would like.
Let's ride on board with Ramdani right now from the cockpit cam. There he is, just chasing down his prey. It's really a hunter-prey sort of situation, isn't it?
And definitely, Z4 is very nimble and very suitable for this sort of attack that you want to mount upon a car like this. Especially when you're in front, you don't really have a point of view of a reference as to how fast you should be going. So it's entirely up to the lead driver to set the pace. And sometimes it's also on the onus of the chaser to be able to outmatch that pace. You can see Irfan taking quite a wide line now.
Yeah. Let's go a bit into the mid-pack there. It's a good batter right now. Amir Harris really.
In another BMW Z4, yeah. Contending with Ahmad Jasmine for P10. He wants to stay in the points here. 0.7 seconds of a gap between these two cars right now. We get remains to see whether or not he'll be able to keep up as we are almost approaching 5 minutes into the sprint. Back here, Mohamed Hakimi. A lot more tiny than what we saw earlier for the Copper class. And a lot of these cars suddenly settling into the groove, making things happen. Mohamed Hakimi here in the McLaren 60PS, settling into his own pace, trying to make headway into the rest of the pack.
Yeah, but he's got a lot of cars around him. It's difficult, isn't it? He doesn't know whether to attack or defend. He's got 2 cars right in front of him, 2 cars right behind him. Yeah, and it's
Yeah, the focus is, I think you definitely need to try and mount an attack first before we can worry about defending, because you're in a really good position where I think there was another portion, Malik Farul going a bit wide, going a bit off track, I reckon, and that gives the cars behind him, Jusmin and Harris, time to catch up. Alright, back to Mohamed Irfan there, again in the front, slowly pulling away from Ramdani here. Ramdani set a blistering lap time during qualifying, but I don't think he's able to keep the consistency that he needs to make things happen here.
It's kind of interesting that Cameron James there in no man's land right now. Their first two, Irfan and Ramdani there, they're just really holding station. But what about Cameron James in third position right now? He's still, is he actually closing that gap?
It's hard to tell because he doesn't have the advantages that the cars in front have. He doesn't have any advantages that the car behind has. He's in clean air, doesn't have a tow, doesn't have the slipstream. So all that's happening now is that he has to use the mechanical, all the grip in his car, and drive as best as he can in order to catch up to the front of the pack.
Yeah, but the good thing for him is he's not under pressure from anyone else. So if he is going to take some risk, and he did, we saw him taking the risk earlier on, just going off track a bit, really flirting with track limits there. He can do that because he has got a bit of gap behind him, so he's not really going to get punished for any mistakes, and he just might as well take a few risks to try and catch the front two.
Yeah, he's got a bit of time before he really comes under any sort of pressure from the Safua and the Ferrari behind him. You can see earlier that Mohamed Irfan actually set the fastest lap during this entire sprint with a time of 2:01.6, which is faster than any of the qualifying times here. So Mohamed Irfan on fire on race 1.
Very much so. Let's go back and see who else is looking. Let's go back to that battle for P7. Hakimi there looking really good. Just holding, he's closed down the gap to the car in front, hasn't he?
Yeah, definitely. But the cars behind him have also closed the gap. So now it's a 4-way battle for P6, I reckon here. As you can see, Jerdandi Haki and Amir Harris are also hot on their tails. Hakimi trying to keep McLaren under control. Doing a good job of it so far. He's still got a lot of work to do.
Yep. See a bit further back behind him, and we can see Amir Harris there looking very close indeed.
He should go on board with him.
Side by side on the cockpit van. He's got the car on the left. He's got to give him a bit of space.
Oh, he's actually...
Ooh!
Bit of a dive there coming in from Haki. Trying to keep his position. Amir Harris being really
back
brave
at
there. But Danny Effendi is right on their tails. Holding the grip. Almost... BMW is sliding almost out of control here. Oh, Danny Effendi took the opportunity. He's now right on their tails. Will something happen here? Amir Harris going out. Trying out of slipstream. Ooh! Haki breaks a bit early there, but it throws off Harris, and he's out in the corner. And I think he's out of contention for that position right now. Oh, and he turns left to go right.
Wow, it all disappeared from Harris there, and he just drops to the back.
Oh, that's so unfortunate. And it's so difficult because out of all the cars here, I think the Z4 is actually one of the hardest to keep under control.
Right. Yeah, well, it was a difficult car in real life, actually. I remember drivers talking about it in the past. But anyway, he's at the back. These are the guys in the ornament of the top 10. Haki here, this... Oh, he's dropped quite a bit from Hakimi right now. Hakimi, just ahead of them, is all over the back of Mohamed Hakimi.
Yeah, and all that incident just started from Haki taking that corner and braking a bit too early, but early enough that Haris couldn't predict it, and he was too close, touched the back, ended up losing control of the Z4, and then all of that just it slipped away from his hands, which is a really unfortunate on his part here. But Hakimi trying to put pressure on Hakim. Now Hakim going a bit wide in the corner. I think he's going to be able to make this pass happen. Coming up to Cops here, I think. Mano managed to keep that position just barely though. Hakimi is now on the offensive. Doesn't have any pressure to contend with from the back there. You can see the gap between him and the cars at the back. About 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds I think, behind him.
Let's go back on board right now.
See the attack that he's coming out on from. Taking very tight lines. Ooh, Hakim breaks a bit early to try and catch him off guard, but Hakimi doesn't take the bait.
Yeah, you don't want to break that hard for the last bit of the Beckett's complex. It's a very soft breakthrough there. He's rubber banding a bit, so it could be a netcode issue as well.
It does seem like it. Hakimi comes in for the dive. Will he be able to make the pass happen? Does he go over there to the TV camera? Does seem to push Hakim a little bit wide, but hasn't been able to make that pass happen yet. He's going to try again, I think, coming into the last 6 corners before the next lap. But I think that might... Ooh, Hakim got a very nice exit to that corner, and now he's right back on Hakim's tail. We've got Hakimi and Hakim contending for P6 right now. It's going to be really confusing when we have to go back and forth between them, but it seems that we're retreating to the status quo.
That's the closest bit of action we have right now. Really, will you look down the inside to turn 4? No, because Hakim is defending, sorry, into turn 3. Oh, but Hakimi touches the sausage curve, and that just stops his momentum. But let's see if we get a good exit out of turn 4 here. And he does.
Hopefully he had a quicker exit than Hakim to that last bit. Despite hitting going a bit too far into the corner and hitting the dirt a little bit there. Doesn't seem to stop his advance, so he's trying really hard to claw the position back. As Hakim goes wide and keeps providing Hakimi opportunities to catch up and mount an attack.
Yeah, that beautiful looking McLaren really wants to try and find a way past the Audi, but Hakim right now just holding on to P6.
Hakimi here giving a substantial amount of pressure to Hakim in the Audi. Remains to see whether or not they'll be able to keep it under control, keep their heads cool and a level head as we round out the last 3 minutes of this sprint. Pretty uneventful in terms of the front of the pack. One more Irfan, a very comfortable 1.7 second lead in front. You can see Juzmin here going a bit over Condrolochi.
Condrolochis, yeah, that's a name and a half. Adam Condrolochis just lost the position, and
whoa,
he's gone super
what was
wide.
that? That was a big incident that just happened in the back there. Rejoining the track unsafely and knocks other competitors out as well.
No, nightmare cars everywhere.
There is a car on track. There is a car in the runoff. There is a car probably where a car shouldn't be. But it does provide opportunities for other competitors to now stand a chance to be in the top 10. You can see Ami Harris going up to P11, taking off Grange.
Yeah, Matthew Grange there, just trying to get by. Just trying to switch back. Just taps the brakes there. Is he going to look down the inside into Farm? I thought about it, but instead he actually brakes super early.
And to have an incident so late into this first race is not something you want to have. And it'll take a toll on your mental here. It comes in Grange trying to catch up to Amir Harris and Amirul Afiq. Gap is widening a little bit there. He's going pretty aggressive.
That's right. Just a little bit of inconsistency there from Grange, just missing the apexes. Needs to try and, it's all about racing by hitting your marks. So you got to hit the marks and brake just late enough, not too late. Got to turn in just the right point, hit those apexes. And that's where the speed comes from. That's where the consistency comes from.
Definitely, the prime thing you want to be focusing on, especially as a racer, is consistency. Because people are going to make mistakes regardless. But it's up to your driver to learn how to minimize those mistakes and do the best race that they can. As you can see, the battle here between Hakimi and Lukmano Hakim has not let off for the past 6-7 minutes.
Wow, we have to go on board with this because he's really close now. Can't really overtake it to the maggot, so nah, it's flat out through this bit and a small break. Okay, now we saw Hakim brake too early for this next right-hander a couple laps ago. Yeah, it's still overslowing the car for me. But, managed to get a good exit out of there. And pull out a bit of a gap between Hakimi and himself.
Definitely the term slow in, fast out definitely applies here. Hakimi got a very good entry, but didn't really get the exit out because he was trying to prepare himself for anything that might happen for the front of the pack. Slightly losing grip on the McLaren there. Very twitchy car control.
Yeah, Hakim just taking a very interesting line. He likes to go for the very late turn in to try and get a good exit out, but it means he just slows down the car too much. It's working for now because he's keeping the Audi in front of that McLaren. But he needs to learn to carry more speed through the corners and have a slightly earlier turn in for the faster corners if he's ever to compete at the front.
Yeah, and it seems that this might be the very last lap of the race here. So Hakimi here has got one lap to make the magic happen. What was that? I think that was one of the cars that rounding up. Yeah, it was
back marker.
Yeah, it was back marker Shan there, holding on the rest of the pack. Quite far behind everyone else right now. But I think it might just give enough of a distraction for Hakimi. A bit of ground to Hakim over here.
Well, Hakimi the better exit through there, but again, that Audi just maintaining that gap. Through the slower corners, actually, Ahmed Hakim actually is just doing a good job getting these good exits. The faster corners through cops where he loses time. And as I say that, commentator's curse almost has a race-ending mistake there.
Yeah, the one time he went in a bit too tight there, and then couldn't really get in a good line on the exit, which gives Hakimi another chance to make magic happen. You can see here, will he be able to go back on board with Hakimi? He is going to try and make an attempt. Not close enough to make it happen, however. Pretty fast corner. Hakim, again, slightly better exit on the corner. Yeah, look at that. Look at how quickly he accelerates out of there. Okay, a bit early. Oh, Hakimi didn't brake there. He's going to try to make an attempt.
He's got the exit though. He's got a better exit.
Definitely. There's not much left.
Oh, he's got to stay in the slipstream though. He's got to stay in the slipstream if he wants a chance.
Yeah. Less than half a lap left.
Okay, we have to go back to the front though, as these guys battle it out through the last sector.
Irfan crossing the line, comfortable first position, didn't let off the entire 15 minutes, and Ramdani they're just behind him. They're gonna be pretty satisfied with the result. Ramdani probably less so than Irfan, considering he managed to qualify on pole. But second place is nothing to scoff at, and I think he'll be quite satisfied with that. Come back here, Hakimi. I don't think they'll be able to make it happen as we're coming back up to the club finish line here.
Yeah, he shakes his head. Not super happy with that, but he knows he was quicker. He knows that he probably should have overtaken his compatriot, but never mind, he'll take that. Some points. He'll start P3 for the second race. Let's not forget, race 2 is a reverse grid race here. Yeah.
So that means Hakimi will start P4?
Yep, that's right.
Yeah,
so
P4, yeah.
Amir Harris there, who finished 10th, he will actually start in P1 for the race. Race number 2.
Yeah. And, whoa, already a very eventful start to the Bronze League here for round 3. Incredible racing from a lot of these races, and also some pretty big incidents.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have a big gap now between race 1 and race 2, so we're going to go to some commercials, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Welcome back for our break. eRGP Global Edition, round 3 at Silverstone. While Alex is having his dinner now, I'm rejoined here by Amo Hazik.
Yep. Thank you for that, Damon Tom, and glad to be back in the box here. And looking by on the sidelines how the race went, I think we'll be assured there's going to be another good race here in the bronze class, Damon.
Yeah, race 2, of course, is reverse grid for the finishing positions of race 1. So now we have Amir Harris starting at the front of the pack. Haki there just behind him, Afandi in the Ferrari in 3rd place, and the 2 leaders at the back, Ramdani and Irfan, are now starting in P9 and P10 respectively.
Yep, so Ramdani and Irfan are going to be the main protagonists here for the championship in bronze. But the guys in front would love to actually get back at their heels, especially with the likes of Cameron James in the middle of them. Top 10, we're on the red lights here. When they go out, we'll be underway. And race number 2. That's a good start from Haki. That's a wheel spin and a half from Harris. He didn't get the best of starts. Afandi on the outside. He managed to punch the air through. And side by side they go for certain drivers here coming through the arena section.
Oh, there's already a spin.
Yep, the arena section here. Always a good place to have controversy and a bit of a choke point. As look at that. There's a few drivers put it behind spinning. Afandi's been spun run. Haki's been spun run into the barriers.
Madness.
Yes, it's all kicked off here, Damon.
Oh my god, that was some incidents and a half. We can see a shot there. We can see a spin there. And I couldn't even tell who was the victim of all this. Actually, I could tell you it's Hakimi there, being forced back down in the P8, but he's slowly clawing it back. Look at all that traffic as they're going 3 wide there.
I'm not sure if that's Jonathan Takumi or it's Amir Rafi.
Oh, Hakimi is not going to be happy with that. Had to slow down a considerable amount. Actually, he might be, but now he's back down to P10, trying to make a pass over Irfan there. And I think out of all that, Ramdani probably won the biggest out of all of them. He's in P3.
Yep, that's the championship leader provisionally coming into this round, but he has a fellow countryman, Muhammad Irfan, for company there. But Irfan has not had the best of starts compared to Ramdani. He's still in the bottom of the top 10. Just get up to the front here in front of Amir Rafi in P9, but not the best of starts, Damon.
Yeah, and you can see, if you look at the standings earlier, Irfan is 3 points behind Ramdani. So he wants to be as close as possible to Ramdani in order to have a contention for the championship standings. Yep, looks like he's trying to make a pass here on to Suteja.
Yep. What a name as well, Maratri Suteja, so that's definitely an Indonesian there, or could be Thai. Apologies for that if we could get it wrong. But side by side, there you go. Coming up through Stowe, and Irfan makes a move there. Now we have to jump up further in front. We have changes in position here between Gerlandi Haki. It looks like Haki in front, but actually I think Haki was really shoved up at the start there. Or could be another Audi, but whatever it is, it's a good clean start at the front for Haki and Harris and Ramdani. They're making a beeline for it from the guys outside the top 3.
Yeah, pulling away from the rest of the pack here. We are on board with Ricky Satria right now in the only Mercedes up in the top 10 right now, holding off against the might of Jonathan Takumi.
Yep. Jonathan Takumi and Cameron James. There's
Ramdani makes a
Ramdani.
nice pass there. I think Ami Harris may have
Yeah.
watched the corner and exit a little bit. I take that back. He's taking the pass back.
That's good because I think Harris probably realized that Ramdani may have gotten a bit too hot there and just goes for the switchback immediately. But that's going to leave him vulnerable coming up now to the Brooklyn's Bend. Look at that, right the outside. Ramdani had a better entry out of there. But Harris has the line and holds on to P2.
And break a little bit earlier there, but I think Haki broke a little bit too early and slowed Ami Harris down, giving Ramdani another opportunity to make a pass up, but it does go wide on that, and that will probably be the end of that for now.
It is, but Haki looks as though he's a bit ragged right now, so there's still every opportunity these guys can come back, as well as Issa Fuad in 4th place.
Ramdani has a nice exit
Yeah.
to the club straight, and I think he's going to make that pass happen. Does stay in front of position, but Harris has the line. No, he doesn't. Ramdani secures it. You see Irfan there, charging up the front of the pack. He's now in P6.
Yep, and Issa Fuad in 4th place, also watching brief here, so we're going to keep an eye for him whether he could actually take the fight today, because he has won the race before, so he will love to have it again. And yes, you're right to point out that Irfan also with a good second lap. He is now trying to get rid of Ricky Sancho in front of him to get back up to the top 5 here.
Yeah, we're on board Issa Fuad right now as we go over to the big straight. Doesn't really have the acceleration of the BMW, but I think he can make it up for it in the corner. Haki slowing it right down. Ramdani actually got past him a little bit earlier, and Amir Harris is also trying to make a pass happen, but that gives a lot of time for Issa Fuad to catch up, and now it's a 3-way battle for P2.
Yep, and if they let Ramdani get away at the front, that will be difficult for the rest of them to get back, as Haki then still defends for all his might. He actually compromised Harris there for a second. Harris now falls into the clutches of Issa Fuad, but it's Ramdani making beeline for it at lap 2.
Yeah, Haki does seem to have this thing where he does brake a lot earlier for corners than other people, but that usually means he's a lot faster on the exits. But usually on corner entry is where a lot of people try to make their moves, and his style of driving actually throws him off quite a little bit.
Indeed, and that's what gets him into a bit of a pickle, especially on this kind of entry.
Oh,
Look at that.
right there.
Yeah, and Ricky Sancho was one of those guys that was actually a bit tentative through the corner, and look at what it caused it. 3 cars in together in one corner.
A little bit of contact to him, Jonathan Takumi, and you can see that Cameron James for a battle for I think P7?
P7, yes.
Yeah, P7.
Oh, Hakimi also.
Oh, Hakimi tries to make a move, but Amir Afik was really wide there. Another one after the Brooklyn Street.
Oh, that's
After the Wellington Street, I should
Yep.
say.
Yeah.
Sorry.
well, it's easy to get lost here, especially given the fact that there's so many things happening. We got 2 Mercedes, an Audi, and a Ferrari, and a McLaren in this battle on the fringes of the top 10. And 11th place, Navira Wanakuwata. That's what it doesn't
Yeah, you got 3 Germans in the Brit.
Yes, and behind there, he's probably about 0.4 of a second behind here. So it's up to 11th, 7th to 11th here, battling for the fringe positions.
This is 5 ways. 5-way battle for, I think this is P7. So it's crazy how the cars in the back of the pack are managing to keep up. You can see Amir Harris on board here, still fighting off Issa Fuad in his bid to overtake Haki there. Look at how squirrely that Z4 is. Very hard to keep these cars under control.
Yep. And for credit to the BOP, as Adam Cardiologis has called it quits here. We see the D on the side of his name. He's out of it. Imran Harris also is the first retirement. As Irfan goes onto the inside.
You can see he makes the pass happen. He does make
Wow.
it quite safe. That was a very brave move for Irfan, and Issa Fuad did not see that coming.
Yeah, indeed. He went from a long way behind. You know that Irfan means business right now. He knows for a fact that his chief championship rival and fellow countryman is up in front. He knows full well that the championship is well and truly on the line. And Ramdani then tries to make hay while the sun shine in front. 2 seconds he has gained here on this lap.
About 8.5 minutes left in this sprint race 2 here. And one more Irfan is charging on the pack. Doesn't want to lose too many more points to Ramdani here. Again, like I said, 3 points separate these two from P1 on the standings.
Indeed, and Irfan actually got advantage in that first race where he took 5 points out of Ramdani as Haki goes wide.
Haki goes wide. Amir Harris takes advantage of that, but he does contact there, and he stops Irfan dead in his tracks. Oh, that's gonna be disappointing. Haki going a bit too deep into that corner there, spun the car, and then just stopped there.
It's nobody's fault there. It was just Haki's mistake making that into an absolute opportunity for other drivers, but not for Mohamed Irfan.
So you're saying it was his fault?
But slightly, because it's just a racing error. It was,
Yeah,
his fault, yes, but it's just a mistake, an honest mistake going onto the curb. He didn't mean to get into the side.
Right. But that tells me Irfan's race is now a lot harder, as we have a lot less time in order for him to charge back up to the pack. Down again to P6 after an incredible last couple of laps from his end. So Haki, he's going to go past Haki, but Haki's playing really defensively, not actually letting him through.
Yeah, this time around he is trying to defend for his bike. He could have probably defended harder when he was in first, but either way, he's trying to defend for fifth right now, coming through Megas and Beckett. Where's he gonna go?
Oh, let's see. He goes right, he goes left, he goes in, he goes out. Will he be able to make the pass happen? Haki there. Again, braking a bit early just to throw Irfan off of his rhythm. Trail braking into that last bend.
It's annoying, isn't it? These kind of drivers really drive out your shaft. You want to get rid of them quickly, but they can still be somewhat fast. And right now, Haki is the cork in the bottle here. Irfan tries getting around the outside.
I think Haki might have the line coming back in, but he does seem to be ahead as he comes into that corner. Doesn't have the best exit though, and Haki might take it back.
Oh.
Irfan going a bit wide there. Haki takes the position back. And Irfan's, he is under some pressure. I think he's quite incensed.
Yeah, he's furious that out of all the people to spin in front, it had to be his fellow countrymen. But he really is both defending decently well, but it's just annoyingly slow through the corners. As you rightly pointed out, he brakes too early. And look at that, case in point again.
Yeah, it's really difficult when you're finding someone that will throw you off your rhythm any chance they get. Kind of reminds me of that, Initial D, God Hand in the S2000.
Yes.
He doesn't really follow the racing line, but he's still like the fastest one there.
Yeah, it's just annoying, isn't it? Those
Yeah.
kind of guys, it's impossible IRL, but
Oh.
it does happen. But we can see here, we see God Hand right in front of us, and it's Kyalami Haki.
Oh, shoot, you're right. Okay, so we're going back into the race here. You can see Haki there. Again, not being as fast into the exit, into the entry of the corner, is throwing up Irfan because for some reason, Haki is really fast on the exit. And just because of that, this fight right now is now a four-way battle. You see Cameron James there and Amirul Afiq right in the back. This is going to be a battle for P5.
Indeed. And will Irfan try to pull off a Shingo here by just knocking somebody off intentionally?
Oh, I hope he doesn't.
Yeah, for the sake of clarity and cleanliness, we do not want to
Yeah.
do that. But look at that. He might just want to force his hand here because Haki is defending really hard for fifth position, and he has every right to, by the way. He can defend if he wants, but he's holding up everybody else, especially Irfan. He's going to get incredibly frustrated here.
Oh, breaking another second too early there. Irfan just barely avoiding contact with him, and as a result ends up having to take a wider line through that. Cameron James then takes advantage of it, tries to make the pass happen. Irfan won't let him yet. He's just pulling ahead and then gives Amirul Afiq a bit more time to catch up as well.
Yep, Amir Afi here is watching brief. He was right up in the top 5 before he got shunted off a bit at the end of the first lap. He's now meaning to get back up there.
Oh,
He
he's
goes on the
coming for a
inside.
dive.
Oh!
Big hit coming from there. Amirul Afiq forcing Cameron James off the track. Oh, that might not be the most sportsmanlike thing to do.
and
as
Irfan's off as well.
off.
Irfan got knocked off by Haki for sure because we saw Cameron James and Amir Afi collide, and now Irfan is going to be going from incensed to nuclear.
I mean, he's still going to be in the points. He's in P10, but dear man, you were having such a good race one earlier.
Ay. Well, he can drop this in the bin, of course, because that's literally what he can throw away as his drop round.
It's so important. This particular round is also very important for this because Silverstone is a very fast track, and you can see Isafu and just going wide on his own.
Because, case in point, right, this is the penultimate round before the last round.
Right.
You want to get all the good points in before you get to that final race, and you never know what's going to happen, especially given the fact that some drivers can actually pull off unbelievable moves when you're fighting for the championship.
Yeah, and Ramdhani is going to be super comfortable right now. I think you get you get 5 points for P1 for per race. How much you get for P2 again?
I mean, 25. This one is 15 and 12 and 10 for the podium.
Yeah. So it's a very comfortable lead because if you manage to get P2 in the first race and now you're finishing in P1, it's just, well, you're going to be sipping pina coladas on the way back for tonight.
Yep. It's a good haul of points. So 20 points for second. He was second in that first race. And now 15. So that's already 35 plus 4 points for qualifying because he started second.
First. Yeah, he was first.
No, he wasn't first because it was Amir Afi somehow claiming pole position that time.
Yeah.
So it's a good haul of points, irregardless. So he is looking in good nick for the final round of the season.
Yeah, you can see Irfan here is 5 seconds behind Niki Satria. Probably not likely he'll be able to catch up anytime soon. Cameron James there in 7th place. Haki still holding on to that 5th position, but he is 5 seconds behind the top 4. And Amiro Afik is actually not very far behind him. You can go on board. I think Amiro Afik might be, just behind him.
And guess what? It's Galadi Haki again. So he's going to have to deal with the most stubborn driver to overtake. And he has every right to defend his position, let's be honest. Because you know what happened to Nicholas Latifi in the final round 2021. People say, oh, is he fighting so hard for? It's a racing driver. They will fight for position. So he has every right to. And Haki, in this case, also has every right to defend his position.
So will Amir Afik be able to contend with Haki's almost erratic driving style there? We shall see. They're pulling a bit closer together. We got 2 minutes left in race 2. Ramdani, comfortable lead ahead, nearly 6 seconds in front of Amir Haris in the BMW. Very fast car. We have Isa Fuwa in 3rd place, Jonathan Takumi in 4th, Haki in 5th, and on board right now, Amir Afik in 6th.
Yeah, we want to see how Amir Afik is the next one to face off, because if we're going to put the boxing terms, he's gone through 12 rounds and more now. Okay, 9 rounds actually. Yeah. But you get the idea. He's gone through a few people already. Now he's going to go for his 3rd bout.
Yeah. Relandi Haki there. You can see just his braking points there. Cameron James trying to take advantage and catch up to Amir Afik. Amirul Afik.
Yeah, Amir Afik is about 2 tenths.
I couldn't find my words there for a moment. I'm so sorry.
We got a few Ferraris actually tailgating a few drivers in front of him, but we're going to have to focus for the battle on the podium. Then we go back to that battle with Haki, the most stubborn driver in any position I think we've seen so far this season.
Yeah, and Isafuwa is less than half a second behind Amir Haris right now. Lots of Amirols on this track here tonight. A lot that we're focusing on at least.
Yes. And now we're going to see whether or not if this Amir can actually hold on to the podium here. He's got a fast BMW, not going to lie. The Ferrari just doesn't have the legs on the straight, but the Ferraris are good through the corners. And Isafwat is going to use that to his advantage. Look at that. BMW is a bit squirrely on the brakes, while Isafwat can just plow the throttle mid-corner and get up to the back of that BMW.
Ferraris are so stable through the corners. It's something that you probably wouldn't expect someone to say about a Ferrari, especially since they can get quite a bit twitchy, I should say. Amir Afik here still trying to make headway, trying to get past Haki, and because of how these cars fight, I guess Cameron James opportunities to catch up. But I think as we're rapidly approaching the final lap here, Ramdani, you can see, just crossed the finish line for the 7th and final lap of this race. Probably mark the end of the battle. For him personally, he's going to sail to a comfortable 1st place.
Yep. As further behind in terms of championship complications, Irfan will be definitely suing Haki for that one, because that's just unnecessary. He's not in a fight for the championship, so why should he fight this hard? But then again, we've had to underline that he has every right to protect his position, so that's why he's fighting. But unfortunately, he happens to be a bit of a cork in the bottle, and now Amir Afik is going to find out whether or not he can overtake this stubborn Indonesian.
Yeah, we're on our last lap here. I think this might be the Wellington Street, right?
It is coming out to Brooklyn.
Yeah, coming to Brooklyn here. Again, this was the corner that almost set off. As Afik goes in for the dive, Haki has to let him through as he goes in super fast. Haki goes a bit wide. That gives Cameron James time opportunity for him to take it over. Will he be able to make the pass happen? Doesn't seem like it. Haki keeps his position but loses it to Amirul Afik, and that is a power move, I could say. That is a power move.
Yep.
Full stop.
Well, he did a power move as well. He literally just barged the driver out of the way. So that will be another point of contention that we have to talk about later.
It's Safuwa here trying to fight against Amir Haris, sorry, for Pete. Almost side by side there. Going a bit tight into this bend. Getting a nice clean apex.
Yep, and no way through just yet. The BMW is just good through the speedy spots. Now he's going to have to send a late dive here. He knows it. Amir knows it. He sees the Ferrari behind getting closer and closer in the slipstream, but no way through just yet. He'll have to try at the final corner. As Ramdani now clears the penultimate corner now. He's going to enter the final 2 sectors.
Yeah, you can see that entering club and will probably be able to call this race his.
Yep.
Just flashing the lights. That's a sign of the times. It's easy P1, P2, P1 finish for him. Amir Haris still fighting.
Side by side!
Side by side! Oh! Isafuwa pushes him out! And he spins!
He spun him around! Amir is going to be absolutely furious with that one.
You gotta make it out! You gotta lose position again! Oh my god! This
and
is disaster for Amir Haris.
And further behind, you can see Amir Afik actually still being caught by Galadi Haki. He crosses 5th, but no doubt Cameron James will actually protest that maneuver coming through Stowe.
I think there will be more than a couple of protests, especially in that final corner there.
Oh,
can
wow,
see.
wait. There's Cameron James right now on our screen. We might actually get an interview with him now, actually. So, Cameron, can you hear us? No, he can't hear. So, unfortunately, we won't get to have any word with him for that
He
one.
does have a mic. Okay.
Oh, he does have a mic, okay. But at least in that car, he looks pretty good because you can see him. He's actually pretending to drive a car. I think that looks like Nürburgring by looks of it.
Yeah, I think
But we
it
do
might.
have Amir Rafi on the line here right now. Amir Rafi, maybe we can interview him. Amir, can you hear us? Oh, he's a bit shocked that we called up to him there. Yes, Amirul.
He's still muted. He's still muted.
Yep.
Oh, hello, Amiro. Can we hear? Yeah, you're still muted on our side.
No, never mind.
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
just,
no
just
worries
carry
then.
on first. But talking about that race just now, how it was absolutely chaotic, wasn't it, Damon? Especially given the fact
Oh.
that the Ferraris look very strong here. In previous races, they weren't as strong, but now we get to see the best of the Ferraris come out to the fore, and we have Amir Rafi on pole position at one point. So
Yeah, the Ferraris, they don't have the straight line acceleration that most all the other cars have, but because Silverstone has a lot of very flowing corners, very fast flowing corners, and very few straight ones, they're actually really fast. We can finally talk to Amirul Afik here. Can you hear us, Amirul?
he probably needs to unmute his mic first.
He was unmuted a little bit earlier. Yep.
Hey. Oh, hello.
Okay,
Hi.
there we go.
Okay,
Yes.
finally, yes.
Okay, hi.
So, Amirul, can you take us through your qualifying in the two races? Because I think you were on pole just now, were you?
On pole for the second races, my qualifying is quite good. But then my race one, hello. But
Yep,
my
yep.
race one just went all good. Just on my third or fourth laps, I struggle a lot with understeering cars.
Mm.
So that's when I lost the car and I cut the corners and I get the penalty. I served the penalty for 10 seconds and I lost a lot of position there. But I'm happy for my race too. A bit aggressive, but then I'm happy with the results.
Absolutely. And take us through that battle with Galandi Haki and Cameron James, because that move on James was, I think, was a bit of a clumsy mistake, wasn't it?
Late break a bit. Then he bumped inside me and clumsy mistake. Really sorry. But yeah, I remember my battle with Amir Harris on the race one. It's so good. He pressured me. Super nice. I failed to defend him.
Yep. But you can take a lot of positives away from this one, considering the fact that it's
Yep.
probably one of your better rounds in the Ferrari.
Yep, exactly.
Right, congratulations, and we'll see you for the final run. Hopefully you can make an impact there until then.
Thank you so much. See you guys soon.
Yep, you too. Well, he looked a little bit sad there. Not gonna lie, I thought he was gonna be a bit more psyched about it. But either way, it's a good couple of performances for Amir Rafiq. I think he did claim pole position in the first race,
Yep.
which is sign that he has a bit of his the swing back in. He has a bit of the swing back in what he did in the first season he competed last time, where he was really competing for podiums every single round.
Yeah, and it's almost amazing to see Ramdani still being as dominant as he is, with holding, I think, some BOP, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
a bit of a BOP,
a bit
but
of BOP, but
not
still,
so much.
yeah, still quite dominant in that race there. And that last lap was, I think, whew,
Oh, that was
action at the 11th hour.
indeed. And the fact that with Isa taking out Amir Harris right at the line, you might feel that he's gonna protest him to Kingdom Come. To be honest,
Yeah,
that
that's gonna be a
was
lot
such an-
of. There's been a lot of incidents, and I assume there's gonna be a lot of protests.
Yeah, that
there.
was such an unavoidable mistake. I know that he was gonna go for the gap, but unfortunately he cut across too late there. But in the end, we're definitely gonna take away that bronze again once again delivers. We'll be right back. We're gonna go for gold and silver coming up after a few words from our sponsors.
Silver first.
No, it's both.
Pewter is about possibilities. It is an idea made real. Crafted with precision. It can make tradition timeless. Pewter evolves. When allowed to be free, it can captivate you. Pewter is our legacy, and we're keeping the legacy alive. Royal Selangor, since 1885.
Hello and welcome back to eRacing GP. This is Global Edition 12. And we're at round 3 of 4 of the 12th season we've had Global Edition. Of course, we've just had copper, we've just had bronze, and now we've got gold and silver coming up, Ammo.
Yep.
Are you excited about it?
Yeah, for sure, especially given the fact that we got quite a few familiar names in this lobby right now. So it's shaping up quite nicely. But the key point is, can anyone stop Demario Hasnam? Because he's won 2 in 2, pole as well in both races, and fast lap in both races. So he has had a complete clean sweep. But he had to have his own way, because we're going to see in the highlights how it actually could have easily gone wrong for him.
Absolutely. Let's have a look at the highlights from round 2.
6 lights on the gantry, 5 lights in Imola. We got a jump start already. We don't know who that is. That might have been Francis Angelo Gonzalez, but we're underway now. And Demario Hasnam leads the field across the line here to start race number 1 for round 2 for gold and silver.
Wow. See, lots of cars. Some of them going wide.
Multiple cars go gravel tracking as opposed to grass tracking. Oh, Demario Hasnam spun! Hasnam has actually dropped it through the Variante Alta. He had a 1.1 second lead. Now it's Aryadi Vishnu in front. Sudhakar second, Priyanatha third. But he is proving to be quite competitive. And so as I said that, they're going to have an accident.
Oh my gosh, and he takes out Hasman as well.
Oh, something happened to Vishnu. Vishnu spun it. Sudhakar's off the track. Roy Riprim takes the lead, and Hasnam takes the both of them, I think. No, he's just up to the P3. Around the outside, he's battling among the gold guys, mind you. Oh, there's a hit. It's a big one. And he's off into the gravel into Rivata too. Hopefully he recovers quite well. The story at the front, though, is Demario Hasnam coming back to win it, and he won it clutch to come across the line here. He's weaving across the line, Fernando Alonso, 2007 style, but he wins it here in Imola Race 1 to extend his championship lead up in front. We'll be underway for the final time this evening. The gold and silver class, race number 2. We are underway, and it looks as though Calvin Pao may have had a bit of a shocking start. Wants to get the first win in a while. Oh, Priyanatha spins out of it, and they actually collect each other, and Hasnam goes around the outside. He actually might take the win in gold. Yes, he does. Oh, wow. Hasnam goes on the inside, coming out to Variante Alta, and he gets held up big time, and because of that, he has actually brought Aldo Balagulla back into play. He may have gotten the run across the line. Oh, that's actually finished. Wow. Jasmine Tan played it nicely there, and that was a photo finish between Jasmine Tan and Mario Hasnam. 700ths of a second separating them, but Hasnam takes the win in gold. He gets yet another double. Jasmine Tan wins in silver.
And there are the driver standings from the silver class. Jesman Tan, with that win in race 2, propels him to the top of the silver rankings. Kelvin Powell in second position, still there with it, very close for the championship hunt, but he'll be aggrieved that he didn't quite get the points he wanted to in round 2. Francis Angelo Gonzalez there in P3, Keith Moe in 4th, and Mohammed Zikri there in P5. Now we go on to the gold class standings, and you see gold class has just been dominated by one driver.
Yep, the Mario Hasnam with a complete control of the championship lead. He is more than 49 points ahead of Roy Ripperip. And remind you, we had to clear this point now. Hasnam has had the pole in both races, fastest lap in all 4 races because 4 rounds, and the win in 4 races. So he is the man to stop right now here, Alex.
Absolutely. Then the team's championship, Stratus Motorsport, with a healthy lead, with MPR GP in second and Biff Racing in P3. And of course, the Nations Cup, Malaysia, again, now starting to have a bit of healthy lead. Indonesia was really, really challenging neck to neck, but they've fallen back a bit with Philippines in P3. Now, onto the on-track action, and practice has just finished.
Yep. And this time, we don't see Demario Hasnam at all. Demario actually has not set a lap time just yet. Maybe on our timing screens, it says he's in first, but we'll see when it goes out on track for real how it's going to be. But for the time being, it looks as though Axel Nocom is going to lead the way here.
Yeah, it's great to have Axel Nocom back. How old is he now? He's 11, 10?
Yeah, he's into the teens.
He's into the teens, is he? Maybe he's 12. Anyway, he's a young Filipino driver, very exciting driver. He won silver class a couple global editions ago. In gold class now. And yeah, it's quickest at the moment of the practice. You're right, Hassanan is not in the server at the moment, but he'll be back in for qualifying for sure.
Yep. As this is Ariadi Vishnu, one of his teammates in MPRGP. Stops on his marks, and that's the end of the practice session. But Nocom then, laying on the gauntlet. And in fact, it is Hasnam who's actually posted the fastest time, only a 10th ahead of Nocom. So Nocom and Alan Drake Cruz are there to challenge the runaway Indonesian.
Okay, we have a bit of time now before qualifying starts. 5-6 minute qualifying session. Since we are quite close to qualifying, we won't go for a break. And yeah, it's going to be an exciting race, I think. Axel Nocom there, I think, will be a real stiff challenge for Demario Hasnam, who's had it all his own way, really. Gordon's not been that strong this season, unfortunately. I've still seen some great racing, though.
Yeah, but again, he's not impervious. Demario has actually made some mistakes. Shows that he is human after all. So if there's a race that really he is off his game, it's going to be one of those two guys in second and third, ready to pick up the pieces. So Nocom and Cruz ready to step up their game here as we're now going to qualifying for round number 3.
That's right. Alan Drake Cruz also here in silver class. Is he in silver or is he in gold now? He might be in gold now, Alan Drake Cruz.
Yep, he is. Cruz is in gold as we see Keith Moe, one of the very first guys out on track here for qualifying. And incidentally, he's actually at the front of the entire pack, so I hope he can actually keep that up because we got a guy behind us, Sai Suduka, so Suduka is there as well. And despite them being in different classes, they are in the same sort of class of car, and it's going to be a bit difficult to weed out whether or not the gold drivers can overtake the silver drivers easily this time.
Yeah, apologies guys, we had the liveries working in the practice server, but for some reason on the race server, we're not able to get the liveries, so all the cars in one color. Yeah, you want to explain the differences between the two cars, Emma?
Yeah, it's actually quite striking, you can see it. So there's the Ferrari coming by. You can tell the white rims at the front, that's easily the Ferrari, and the fact that it has that kind of trademark nose where it's a bit curvy, whereas the McLaren we're going to go now on board with, in fact on the TV cameras, there's a bit of a slight wing at the front. That's the aerodynamic bit that they tried to get downforce off. The Ferrari didn't include that, but it is still pretty much even Steven between these two cars. Just apart from the fact that in this particular simulation, the Ferrari is a bit faster.
Yeah, and McLaren has these interesting, what do you call them, horns?
Yep, on the side.
Yeah, horns on the side of the car just above the helmet, and you can see him right now. Oh, there's a few cameras changing.
Yeah, there you go. You can see those horns at the top there. That's where it differs away from the Ferrari. So you can tell the two cars apart. And of course the fact that the McLaren runs all black rims, but the nose as well. You can see how narrow the cockpit was at the front. It's a bit of a trade-off from when Newey was the designer of McLaren. He was already Red Bull's designer by this time, but bits of that McLaren from the era when Newey was around, it's also transferred to this one.
Yeah. Peak mode right now. He's quickest at the moment, but no one has actually set a proper hot lap, shall we say. This is just a lap out the pits. But he's quickest at the moment. Hazelnut's out there as well. He's our championship leader. We should maybe follow on board with, actually, I want to follow Kelvin Powell, because he's second in the Silver Championship. Very interesting to see how he can do it. Oh, I love how he's got this Renault livery from yesteryear.
Yep. And it's incidentally Heikki Kovalainen's car. I think it's not Fisichella's car. So you can hear there through Cops it was flat. So he's already confident in this car. Brumac in the Beckett's still in 7th. Now dropped through the gears. 4th gear exiting Beckett's and on to the hangar straight. It looks good for him right now, but let's see if that is going to be translated to the lap time.
Yep, coming down to Stowe. Stowe's just you just breathe on the brake really. Don't really slow down the car that much. Then back on the throttle. Good exit through Stowe. Now coming down to the farm. Last few corners on the lap. Got to keep it neat here. Very technical corners. Got to make sure you don't overslow the corner. You overslow the car even though the corner is very slow. Easy flat through the last corner, and that's a lap.
That's when he puts him P2 behind Sai Sudhakar. So 1.3 seconds off. Roy Ripper comes up to the timing sheets. He's up to 2nd. Hasnam now up to 2nd as well. The 10th off Aryadi Vishnu. In fact, Vishnu actually got in front of both Sudhakar and Hasnam, so out of our sight. Aryadi Vishnu has stepped up here for this round.
Nice lap there by Vishnu to be on pole position. I wonder if he can hold on to it. Hasnam though, you know, he's got another lap in him, another 2 laps in him really, and you got to think that he's still going to be favoured to go quicker.
Indeed. But judging by that delta, I can see on the steering wheel about 1.9 seconds off, so he might have made a mistake somewhere there. But either way, he's got at least another lap to do, because it's just a testament to how fast Formula 1 cars are compared to the other classes of cars we've seen today. They can easily do 3 laps within a 6-minute time frame. There's Hasnam on our screens. He's in the onboard, and now he's going to be in the inset. And remember last week that he actually was flapping his fan handheld to keep himself cool. He's probably going to do it this time around. Hopefully he's listening to that, so we can get a good shot of that. Brumac and Beckett's.
Yeah.
Oh, that's tight.
No, he's focused. He's not flapping his fan now. He knows the chips are down. He knows he needs to find time. And this lap is probably not going to be good enough, so it's got to be the last lap of the qualifying session if he's going to snatch pole.
Indeed. Through Stoke, coming up to Vale now. Let's see whether or not he could actually get it through to the start-finish straight cleanly. It looks as though a lot of other drivers have set fast times. Axel Nocom out of nowhere, 29.6. Sudhakar, 29.9. Alex is behind us in the background. Don't mind that, folks. Sorry about that. But Nocom, 29.6. 3/10 of a second ahead of Sai Prithvi Sudhakar. And he's on for yet another lap because he just went to the pits. I hope he has enough time for another one, because 55 seconds here. It's quite close, Alex.
Yeah, let's see if Vishnu can go a bit quicker right now, because Vishnu also, you know, he'll want his pole position back. He was pole earlier on. There he is. Great to have him on shot. Ooh, nice guitars in the back. Nice rig.
Yeah, it looks like a barber's chair.
Is he up? Can't quite see from the Delta.
He's, I think, by a couple of tenths, by a bit. Not so much. Yeah, only a tenth or two. So he is just behind there, almost catching up to his previous time. You can just about see the delta on our screens here. Through Cops, keeps it flat. Yes, he does. That's beautiful. So now let's see if we can make up 5/10 here against Axel Mariano Nocom. And Nocom incidentally has crossed the line in time to start his final lap. So we got 2 drivers to watch out for. 3 being put in place. Damari Hasnam is still out there. Irfano Hidayat crosses the line. He's the first to finish qualifying. Chu Yanming qualifies 15th, second to last in the silver class. So unfortunately, he's going to start way behind there. But we're looking at Aryadi Vishnu, who was on pole at one point. First of the drivers to cross the line here. Let's see whether or not he could snatch back pole position. Sai Sudhakar crosses the line, can improve. He's still second and 3/10 behind. Here comes Vishnu now across the line. Will it be an improvement? No, it's not. He's behind, so the delta on the timing on his steering wheel was correct. Now we go to Demario Hasnam. He's across the line.
No, he's out.
He's out of it, so he's stopped the car, and now it's up to Nocom whether or not Nocom can improve on his final lap, Alex.
Wow, look at him in the inset driving. He's looking very smooth, getting to the apexes. It's very quick in these sort of games. Instead of Corsa, race room, very, very quick indeed. And looks like he's put on a bit of height there, looking in the video.
Probably a gross, he was going out drifting recently. But 2 tenths up. Alex, I can see that. 2 tenths up. In fact, it's almost 3 tenths at one point. Now coming out to the final sector. Will he be able to translate this into a more convincing pole position, Alex?
Wasn't so clean through the chicane. Will have lost a little bit of time there, but this looks good enough to improve on his lap. 1 tenth.
Yes, he does. 1 tenth. So in the end, it is 1 tenth. But pole position for Axel Nocom, and I don't want to interview him now to disrupt his concentration, but we got an interesting race on our hands here. It looks as though Demario Hasdam has that off day.
Yep, absolutely. So, Axel Nocom on pole. And of course, we might as well take an opportunity right now to thank our sponsors, of course, Life Apparel, Royal Selangor, who are making brilliant trophies for the winners at the end of this global edition, X-Park, and of course, Axel Sports. But yes, Axel Nocom on pole. Nice to see him back, and a really, really, really great driving by the young Filipino driver.
And we can see on our second screen, he looks absolutely psyched with that 4 tenths faster than the rest of the field. You can tell he's pumped up. He wants to get back to winning ways here.
Yeah. Looks very calm as well. So I think he's going to be hard to beat today, I feel.
Yep, if he keeps up the qualifying form into the race, he'll definitely be the guy to beat here this round. Now, we're on the grid here for the first race of tonight. And it's, well, the stakes have never been higher, isn't it? Especially given the fact that we got a new pole sitter up in front. It's a youngster who's ready to take the fight to the other drivers. Joining back on the commentary box is Damon Tam. Damon has been overseeing the qualifying. What do you think was on your mind just now, seeing that it's a kid who's, well, only about 11 or 12, I think, this year?
Well, I've got nothing to say. It's been some insane qualifying pace from all of these drivers, especially Axel Nocom there, driving out of his mind. But as we've seen earlier, qualifying pace probably sometimes doesn't equal race pace. So we'll have to see whether or not he'll be able to hold on to it when we start race 1.
Absolutely. And given the fact that it's just another matter of, you can be a good time trial driver, but can you be a good race day driver? That's a whole different ball game. And Nocom has actually proven time again, he's fast in qualifying, he finds the race, so he's actually bucked that particular trend for certain hot lappers. So let's hope for this one, for the sake of the championship as well, he could actually pull off a blinder and get his first win of the season.
Yeah, we'll be starting race 1 in just a few more seconds, I should say, not minutes. Otherwise, we'll be here all night. Again, silver and gold drivers are all on track together. Another upgrade in cars from the GT3s we had earlier in bronze class, so we get to see some extremely high octane racing, I would say.
Yep, and cycling through the field, seeing some drivers, and we have our confirmed pole sitter for the silver class, Jose Alcadri. Returning Jose Alcadri is there, but he'll have to fend off drivers further behind as we now get the lights on the gantry on here. 6 red lights on this one, 5 on the gantry here at Silverstone, and when they go out, we're going to get underway here for race number 1 in gold and silver, and we are off. Nocom then wheel spins off the line, but I think gets a better start compared to Sai Suduka, his fellow countryman in Norway. Alan Drake Cruz goes around the outside. A lot of drivers go wide.
And we've already had a spin.
Yep, there's a spinner. That's Aldo Balagulan. Balagulan's been sent right to the back. Irfan No Hidayah is involved as well, but Nocom gets the start he wanted. He is still in first. Alan Drake Cruz is in second.
Alan Drake Cruz making quite a bit of an attempt at going through the front of the field. I think he probably had the best launch out of all of them, which is why he was able to secure that position going into turn 1. And now he's in second place, just behind Nocom. Demario Hasdam in 4th place, trying to catch up to the rest of to the front of the pack right now.
Yep, this is a perfect winning score on the line here. It's the only unbeaten record this entire season, and it's on the line. He's in 4th place behind 4 really fast guys: Sai Suduka, Alan Drake Cruz, and Axel Nocom.
It's going to be an intense one. We're just 1 minute into the race, and we've already see Sai Suduka going a bit wide there. He'll be fine. Quite a bit of gap between him and Demario Hasdam. You can see they're just going flat out through that second right there.
Sai Suduka hopefully will have his wheel on hand because he did do it last year in the Jordan 191. Can you imagine, in a controller, literal PlayStation controller that he used to actually drive, and he managed to win in gold.
Insane performance from Sai Suduka there. But he's on a level playing field with everyone else right now, so it begs the question whether he'll be able to maintain this pace. Doing a good job at it so far. You can see Roy Ripari in 5th place. Ariane Vishnu spun out there.
Yep, I think he was already spinning prior to that. Probably got touched a bit by Roy Rip into the grass. Luckily, he didn't get taken onto the curbs like we saw at the end of the MX-5 race in Copper, where drivers fighting for the podium is up. As we have, a bit of a staller there, unfortunately.
That was the broadcast car. That's checking his trap. It's a fight. That car didn't exist. It's not real.
Yes. So, right then, Nocom still up in front. Luckily then, he is actually still about 8/10 of a second in front of his fellow countryman Alan Drake Cruz. Sai Suduka in third place, 1.1 second behind. And Haznam still has lost all 3 of the meters. So, it's an interesting fight up in front. Ooh, big lock up there from Nocom.
Yeah, I think Alan Drake Cruz locked up his brakes a little bit there. Ended up slowing down a bit too much for that corner. Couldn't take a line that he wanted. Loses about 0.3 of a second behind to Nocom there. But I think if he's on pace, he should be able to keep up.
Yes, indeed. But that lockup would definitely be severe because these cars in this era actually were much lighter compared to the cars now. So lockups, when they happen, you can literally feel the vibration on those flat spots. So it's simulated quite well inside the Corsa. You can actually feel those. And if it goes really bad, you can literally shake the fillings in your teeth.
Yeah, and tire wear is probably not going to be that much of a factor considering how short this race is, but it will affect vehicle handling just for a split second as well. You could be caught in a split second mistake that might take you out of the race. Hasn't seen it so far yet, but we all know we've still got about 12 minutes, anything can happen.
Yep, big lock, big moment of brakes there for Haikari.
Haikari going a bit wide there.
He actually lit up all 4 brakes on his car. And goes through Nazmir Aslan. So Nazmir, that's one of the Aslan brothers that we were talking about just now. So at least he got through easily. He just went nip and tuck under and just got away into 10th place.
Yeah, and that's the thing, another lock up there, as we can see there. I think that was Kelvin Powell just locking up the brakes on entry there. Doing it again, both quarters. I think he just jammed on the brake pedal a little bit too hard. Got a really heavy, we do left foot braking here?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, left foot braking.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, single seater, you don't do right foot braking, that's for sure. Unless you have a manual gearbox.
Yeah.
As Vishnu then, a recovering Vishnu, tries to get back at Calvin Powell. But yeah, Calvin's tires will be looking like a 1 pence coin after this, as what Alex would like to call. Oh, I like to call it square. It's literally going to be square after this. It's just running on that flat spot.
And it's kind of a weird position to be in because you can see like these are really fast cars. They're Formula cars. Like, oh, Vishnu going a bit wide there. That's not the best line to take through there, I would say. That's been Asta. I think he dropped another position.
Yeah, he dropped a bit behind Haikal Aris. Haikal actually, remember he overtook him there. And there is Nazmir on our cameras. He's actually racing incidentally in Nucky Bridge.
Yeah, see there. I think his brother is overseeing his race right now. Kelvin Powell trying to make a move happen. Going a bit late, but ends up taking a white line through there. You can see contact there. He sticks his bumper into Vishnu's tail.
And there's a car further in front going up as well. That might be Yan Ming. It is Yan Ming. So Chu Yan Ming actually gets back onto the old section of Vale and straight back to the start finish line. But what a doozy there. And it looks as though his tires have not fully cleaned up before he went back on the full wheelie.
Oh, that's going to be a bit of damage on Yang Ming's car right now. He's going to have to rejoin the track, but you can see Hidayat there just barely closing in on him. Please don't cause another incident. You can see everyone just names lighting up green, signifying gain of position.
Yep, but mercifully though, no big accident. We now go back up to the front of the field. It's quite, petering out at the moment in terms of how the battle went on from the start. But again, we have to point this out. Sometimes in the RGB races, there's that 5 minutes of mayhem at the start, 5 minutes where it's a bit of a lull, and then 5 minutes, it's all kicking off.
Yeah, and you can see that the gap between Nocom and Alan Drake Cruz here has actually been steadily increasing throughout this race. It was 1.1 seconds when we left them last. Now it's about 1.3 to 1.5 around that time frame. And so Nocom is his pace very good this race.
Yep, and speaking of good pace, Mario Haznam has actually caught up to the back of Sai Suduka. Suduka might be looking backwards as opposed to going forwards here.
Oh,
and
locked
case
up
in point.
a bit.
Yep, he locked up there, so he knows that Haznam's there.
Yeah, and there must be a considerable amount of pressure you've had. These are very experienced drivers. I'm sure they've had a few high-pressure situations that they've been in over the years that they've been racing, but it's still not a very comfortable position you want to be in.
Negative. You wouldn't want to be in a position where you're under the cosh. You like to be putting the other guy under pressure, put in front as Haznam lights up the brakes on the inside once again, but no lockup. So he knows full well that he needs to conserve these tires towards the end. Yes, we don't have high tire wear, but make no mistake, you wouldn't want to have flight spots either. And deliver those kind of flight spots is an absolute nightmare.
Yeah, you can see Haslam here on board here. Looking calm and collected as ever. Priyanath goes in for the dive. Gets it over Gonzalez that makes the pass happen as they're coming into the next S-curve.
Yep, through left field, and that's an easy move, but that's again between the two classes. So for Francis, he's still leading in the silver category. So for that, he would not be too bummed out by it. He will just maintain his position. He'll have to worry about Ozay Al-Qadri though. Ozay actually is in that mix to actually take away first position from him.
Oh, it looks like now Smir Aslan lost position to Balagulan. Coming back now into P11, I think. The battle between them seems to be quite competitive. You can probably go on board with them and just check it out real quick.
Yep. And again, it's a different class because Balagulin's actually in gold.
Yeah.
While Nazmi is in silver, so at least he let him by not to have any problems. There's Nocom. Something's happened to Nocom.
Oh, Nocom. I think he may have locked up. May have went away wide. Lost the second entirely. That would be a fatal mistake that he didn't want to take.
And that is a mistake that he will be ruining himself for that one because he had a second lead over Alan Drake Cruz. Now, battle for the lead has opened up, David.
Oh, that means Hasnam now has an opportunity to make it to a podium finish. If Nocom is under considerable pressure and Mario Haslam takes advantage of that, he could see himself on the podium for this one race. So we'll have to see. It's now a four-way battle for P1.
Yeah, and it's again in between these two kids, teenagers even, because they're younger than 13. There's a 12-year-old and an 11-year-old up in front. I could be wrong about the age, apologies for that one, but you can tell the youth and rawness coming in there right now. They just made one of them just made an absolutely elementary mistake.
Yeah. I mean, I can't say anything about their age because they're all younger drivers and they all drive better than me. Maybe they even drive better than you. We don't know for sure yet. But yeah, I mean, as a young kid, emotions can run high and can affect the way you drive. And we can see it here in action here as a Nocom. His driving style seems to have increased in aggressiveness a little bit.
But again, it's all about the mental, isn't it? As you said just now, they have the racing mentality as well. They know that if they make a mistake, they have to chain up the next few corners and reduce that. Otherwise, they will just continue to make mistakes. As Hasnam there makes a huge one, goes on to the fake grass or the AstroTurf, nearly slides in, but held it well together. Now he's looking for the in front here, whether Sudokar and Nocom will collide and just take the reposition from both of them.
Yeah, and at this point, you really don't want to make any crucial mistakes as we're coming into the last third of this sprint. See Sai Sudokar comfortably ahead of Nocom and Haslam. Well, not by much, about half a second splits between them. But Alan Drake Cruz, very nice first place, slowly extending the gap between him and the rest of the pack battling for P2. So come over here to the Wellington Straight.
And that 1.3 seconds is the same gap that Nocom had prior to his little error, as we see him in the inset there. Well, look at the way he's driving. He literally just uses
it's like me when I drive on the racing game with the controller and I turn with the car, like turn as I'm turning right, so it feels like I'm turning a bit better. Yep. I'm not explaining myself very well, but you know that feeling.
Yeah, I get what you mean, because you literally turn the car so that you can feel like, oh, this car will turn better if I lean my body more.
Yeah. Or, maybe I move the analog stick just a little bit more so that I can actually get turned in.
Yep. So whatever happened to Nocom just now was enough to actually drop into P3, and he has the Mario Haslam half a second behind for company, so he may not be thinking about that too much. He wants to actually get back up to the back of his fellow countrymen, but first he has to get by Sai Sudokar.
Yeah, you can see closing into the gap, going a bit wide. That's not the line you want to take through that.
Yep, through the after again, he could easily slide as there's a lock-up in front that looks like Cruz's lock-up. So he's going to make those tires a bit more square after this.
I mean, at this point, why don't you just race the square wheels, right?
You would, but it's just an uncomfortable feeling, especially if you have a direct drive unit.
That's true. I've seen videos of pretty weird videos. You can see Gonzalez actually making a move on Priyanath. I think he made the pass happen. I wonder what happened there. I think Priyanath may have made either a mistake or Gonzalez just made a really good move.
Well, we might take the former then, because it looks as though that Priyanath actually made a good move, but Gonzalez made a good move for Priyanath, but Priyanath just couldn't recover back quickly enough. Now he's actually he's following the clutches of Jose Al-Qadri, so Al-Qadri then has to overtake Priyanath because that's his main chief rival in the silver class further in front, so he's got a gold drive in between them.
Yeah, and it does seem like he's not really up to the pace of Priyanath and Gonzalez in the front of the pack there.
Yep, and Gonzalez actually now proving why he's actually a good silver driver. He's not been able to step up to the gold class just yet, but this season might just be a season to do that because he's doing quite well.
Yeah, we're gonna go over back to the front of the pack here with Alejandro Cruz and Sai Surukal. Less than a second split between them. Nocom just about a second behind, has them about half a second behind that.
Yeah.
It's still a battle. We've got about 3 minutes left in the sprint.
Indeed. 3 minutes left to go, and I think about 2 laps-ish. I think we're going to go into 9 or 10 laps, depending on how fast the race will be, because Alejandro Cruz looks as though he's actually just backing it off a bit slightly to probably conserve his tires. He wants to do it for the final push.
Yeah, we're definitely getting a couple more laps here, and tire conservation is going to be a big factor here, especially when you consider the fact that a lot of the grid have been making random slips recently, especially when it comes to the tires locking up. Not having ABS on these cars, very dangerous. As you can see, aside, just locking it up again, extending the gap between him and Alejandro Cruz.
You gotta remember, these cars actually have traction control, so they don't have to worry about rear tires so much. It's the front tires that have to worry about a lot.
Definitely. You can see that every time you brake, it's the front tires that glow the hottest.
Yep. Or if you can really lock all 4 tires, it's gonna affect all of you, but it's mostly in front because of ABS. Now, it's whether or not if you're a front-centric driver or rear-centric driver, that's up to you on how you can decide to save the tires on this. But for the likes of the Mario Hasnam, he's not been able to get by any of these guys. Probably he's just backing it up slightly even more, maybe for one final push. Or maybe today is the day that we can finally see that unbeaten record being beaten.
Now we see about 1 minute 45 seconds left on the clock. We've got about 2 laps left. Mario does seem to be lowering his pace a little bit, but I think he's doing what you think Alejandro Cruz is doing, just conserving his tires for the very last sprint.
Yep, and Cruz then only about 7 seconds ahead as he goes again through the after 30. You wouldn't want to do that too often because those things can be deadly. Plus, it's also a potential for penalties, so he may not do that too often. As we're now on to the last lap, officially, across the line we go. Alejandro Cruz, 8 tenths ahead of Sai Suzuka, who's about 8 tenths ahead of Nocom, and a second ahead of Demario Hasdam.
Yeah, if anyone wants to make a move, now would be the perfect time to do it. You can see Sai Suzuka slowly closing the gap between him and Alejandro Cruz there, almost bumper to bumper. But Alejandro Cruz pulling away again as we head into the last Wellington straight of this race. You can see the gap hasn't really increased between all 4 of these cars, if you're honest.
It's a bit of a stalemate. It's just, you know, leveling itself out right now.
Yeah, and whoever is in front is going to be the biggest winner out of all of them. Barring any mistakes, of course. We haven't seen any mistakes from all of them, aside from Nocom, who dropped from P1 to P3. Hasdam has stayed a consistent 4th place. Alejandro Cruz and Sai Suzuka taking advantage of the mistake, going into P1 and P2 respectively. And aside from that, I think, barring the battle between Gonzalez and Prionata early in the rear, there hasn't really been any more major incidents throughout the entire race.
Indeed. As now we're coming out to the final sector here, past the timing beam through Beckett's and onto the final time onto the hanger straight. Will Sai Suzuka line one up into the final corner? The answer is no, not yet. He's got one last chance here, half a second behind. Alejandro Cruz might have to watch his mirrors here coming to the final corner. The side to attempt one. Late break. Oh, he's actually having to swap end over end there. But luckily he kept it together. Nocom is still 3rd. But it's Alejandro Cruz who wins for the first time this season. And the unbeaten record has finally been broken. And Alejandro Cruz is absolutely psyched by it. Fist aloft. He's absolutely over the moon with that one.
Yeah, Luke's going to be very happy with that result. You can see that pumping his fist on the camera right now. He's so happy that he's managed to take this one. And Demario Hasdam might be a little bit disappointed that I think he's just lost his first race this entire season.
Indeed. Well, probably no fault either because he had actually a very flawless race. But we might be able to interview Alan now because he looks very excited to be interviewed. So we can get him on board now if he wants to. So, Alan, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh, you were really excited with that win, aren't you? Because that was pretty much a perfectly judged race and an opportunistic maneuver to take the win. So, take us through how that went for you.
So basically, I did some qualifying. My qualifying, I had a hard time heating up the medium tire, so didn't wait a sec. I'ma just RTG. I had a hard time heating up the tire, so Axel was rapid, by the way. His pace was amazing. And I started P3, and then thanks to my practice on the race start, I think I got a good start and I got ahead of Sai. And if not for that race start, I don't think I would have got the W. So, and yeah, once again, I just want to say Axel's pace was rapid today. I don't know what happened to him. Did he like hit the curb or something?
We kind of missed that on our cameras as well, actually, but we saw him actually slowing afterwards, so we thought we could hear it from your side.
Yeah. I think I avoided him. I didn't see on the dash on the left, but just want to say that was like a really hard race. Like I was having a lot of pressure. It might have, you couldn't have seen it on camera, but I was like sweating all the way down to my neck, and like that was very hard.
Yeah, you were really wrapping your hands around the wheel there. You really wanted to get this win badly, but congratulations, Alan. Now it's time to see if we can make a double from P10.
Okay then, thank you.
All right. So that was Alan Drake Cruz then. Over the moon. Absolutely psyched. Whatever superlatives you can put on him, he was really happy with that win, wasn't he?
Yeah, and now it is time to see whether or not Axel Nocom can take it back. He'll be starting slightly ahead of Alan Drake Cruz as we go into race 2. We're going to cut to a short break. When we come back, we're going to be ready for race 2.
Alright, welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for a lap around in my Mercedes-AMG DTM car. The Silverstone Grand Prix circuit's been around since the late 40s. Used to be an airfield before that, and is considered the home of British motor racing. Turn 1 here, ideally in qualifying trim it's full throttle. I just mistimed it a little bit there, had to lift. And this area here is one of the main overtaking zones now, especially the non-DRS overtaking zone. That's part of the newer layout that I believe was since 2010. And now in Wellington Straight, this is a good DRS overtaking zone, long enough straight to fly past the other guy, but you also have to watch if you go on the inside here of someone, you might end up outside in Luffield and then be forced to fight it out along here on the straight. And now we're at what used to be the start-finish line over here, and the old turn 1 cops. Looking for the 50-meter board there for the braking point, getting on the curb on the inside, and letting the car flow out all the way on the exit, and then we get ready for the really fun Beckett's complex. The timing of your turns is super important here. It's really easy to lose a lot of time, especially if you mess up that last bit there, because you'll lose a lot of time here on the hangar straight, which is another great DRS overtaking zone. And coming up to Stowe Corner, ideally getting right onto the inside at the apex. Don't want to run too wide out there. I just kept it on track. And then our final slow bit here. Super patient getting back onto the throttle. And then a full throttle final corner to...
And we are back.
Alright, welcome to the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit for a lap around.
Running for the front of the pack this time, just in front of I can't read that name.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
there's already someone going wide. There's a lot of cars going wide there. One spin out. Ooh, that was a takeout if I haven't seen one before.
Yeah, and I'm not sure who's that. That might have been Roy Ripper. Roy Ripper has been sent right to the back as more contact goes in front there. There's a couple of drivers off as well because our timing screens have gone completely bananas. We're not sure who's who right now that's been taken out.
All that we know is Haika Aris ended up the biggest loser out of that entire kerfuffle as he drops back down to 15th from second.
And the biggest winner, Aldo Balagulan. 2 seconds ahead to the good at the start here. He made a quick beeline for it.
Yeah, actually, if you consider that Mario Hasnam also won pretty big there. He clawed his way back up from, I think it was P6 all the way up to P2.
Yep, there's Hasnam on board now. He's well and truly clear ahead way, but many different accidents happened there as we are now gonna follow here what's happened to the Mario Hasnam.
Samir got a lot of time to make up that Aldo Balagulan, a comfortable lead from that scuffle that happened earlier in the lap. That was a pretty intense moment there, I should say, from everyone involved there. I think some of the drivers might be a little bit pissed that that happened to them.
Absolutely, they would be absolutely incensed that if it was for a championship fight, that's their championship fight really compromised. A big lockup from Hasnam, and I'm pretty sure he didn't even lock up a single time during the first race. Now that was a big one. That's going to take a few percentages out of the tires.
Yeah, and you can see that Al-Khatri somehow jumped up from P16 to P1. No idea what happened there, but it's a
timing screen bug, yeah.
Yeah, okay, never mind. Regardless of that, Axel Nocom in P5 now, trying to make up the time that he lost, trying to navigate himself through that incident, I should say, Sai Sudoka jumping up to P6. So the top 5-6 drivers are pretty much the same as they were last race.
Yes, indeed. Apart from the fact that the roles have been reversed completely as Hasnam is in front of Cruz this time, but Cruz is turned to actually fight Hasnam locks up again! Oh, that's not good. He locked up the left-hand side towards the end of the first lap. Now he's locked up the second tire.
You can see actually, Nazmir Aslan had tried to make a pass on Nocom. Nocom actually tried to make a pass on top of him. Did make the pass happen for a bit, and then it was a very intense battle for that position, P4 there. And Nocom, I think he manages to pull safely away from Nazmir Aslan there.
Yep. Nazmir put up a fight, but he is going to be leader in silver, and that will be a confidence booster because he hasn't had the best of luck in eRGP so far in the 2 seasons he's competed.
Yeah, and you can see here Mario Haslam is now less than a second away from Balagulan. Balagulan, while he was on good pace, had a comfortable lead ahead. Mario Haslam and Alan Drake Cruz have been upping their pace and are now less than a second behind him.
Well, Cruz kept saying just now during the interview that he was really surprised with Nocom's pace. He was blitzing in qualifying and he was fast in the race as well up until his mistake. But take nothing away from Cruz as well. He is absolutely blinding this round.
Yeah, definitely so, and you can see, and it reflects in the past 2 races that he had. Very consistent pace, almost no mistakes happening from his side. Manages to keep his cool head throughout the entire session. You can see whether he'll be able to hold on to that now as Mario Haslam is coming up onto the tail of Balagulan.
Yep, Haslam then 4/10 of a second behind onto the Wellington straight. No DRS in these cars, mind you, so they have to be done the old-fashioned way by using a bit of a slipstream. And mind you, these cars also have a bit of dirty air. Case in point, look at that.
Balagulan braked a bit early, that throws Haslam off the rhythm, but that gives space for Alan Drake Cruz to try and make a move. Was on the outside of Haslam for a moment, that wasn't able to make it stick, however. But these two cars are now very close to each other.
We didn't see him overtaking the top 4 last time out. Now it's a chance for Cruz to do it. Oh, they nearly touched.
I think that was netcode. I think that was netcode.
A bit of netcode, but at the same time, it looked very close there from Nocom, from Cruz.
And all of a sudden, that gap just suddenly increased. I think having a bit of a... How should I say this? Having a bit of a disturbance early on in the corner entry will scuff your exit. And in these cars especially, the exit matters a lot.
Yes, and especially given the fact that Silverstone, from Cops all the way up to Maggots and Beckett's, it's all about the momentum that you carry from the very first point, which was Cops.
Yeah.
So that's why it just scuffed him up a bit. But no doubt, Cruz will get it at as Haslam will have to do the same thing here behind Balagulan.
Yeah, and it's a really weird parallel with these cars and the MX-5s that we had in the Copper League, where all the cars are relatively evenly matched, and unless you're separating the Ferraris and the McLarens, of course. But compare those to the GT3 cars, where there are quite clear differences in performance between them. These cars, the difference is almost not enough to be noticeable, just like the MX-5s. So the most important thing for these cars is how much speed you're able to carry through these corners, and how much of that speed you'll be able to hold on to when you're reaching the slow corners.
Indeed, and case in point here, we saw just now how in the GT3s, Galadi Haki was kind of corking the bottle. Let's see if Haslam can try to overtake Balagulan, who is equally quite as it's difficult to overtake when it comes to a good circumstance. So right now, coming up to Cop.
Yeah, Aldo Balagula holding on to his stick quite well. Hasnam going a bit wide there. You notice that a lot of these F1 cars, the second you take the wrong line at the entry, you're going wide in the exit. There is no question about that.
Yeah, it's a fast car, so the moment that you pick a direction, it will go there. If you change it anymore, it's just going to understeer.
Yeah, that's true, yeah. But Aldo Balagulan holding on to his lead, going to drive a little bit defensively. You see Ozer Al-Qadri disconnecting from the server. I think that's his race to call.
Yep, but crucially though, Hasnam then still not being able to overtake Balagulan, and there's
lock up there.
Yeah, this brings Alan Drake Cruz back into play. That's a big lock up.
Yeah, it appears the Mary Hasnam a lot of time to catch up there. You can see again the exit matters so much when you're thinking about speeds this high. You can see this car hitting almost 300 k's coming up into these fast sectors.
Oh, that's a big one.
Lock off from Haslam. He tried to make a pass but couldn't make it before the corner. Had to brake extremely hard against Alan Drake Cruz. Time for him to catch up. But look who's behind Alan Drake Cruz. That's right, it's Axel Nokov.
Yep, there he is. There's Nokov, only about 8 tenths behind. So we have it again, like the first race, 4 cars in the train.
Yeah, with the difference being Aldo Balagulan is now in P1, and Sai Sudakar is out and running for this battle.
Yeah, he's 2 tenths
but you see Alan Drake Cruz going a bit wide there. That might give Nokov a bit of a chance to kick up, but it does mean that he might have a little bit faster of an exit.
Yeah, Sudakar's only about 3 tenths behind Nazmir at that time, but you're right. That was a bit of a wide entry, but it didn't compromise his speed so much because he wasn't that close, as Hasnam again goes very wide through turn through Cops.
Yeah, that particular corner is his weakness his entire race there. You can see a lot of drivers, a lot of the other drivers are making the time over him because of that particular corner.
Yep, and I was nearly going to say turn 1 there because that's the old turn 1.
Yeah.
So, apologies to that one, as Hasnam tries to drive one around the outside.
Balagulan playing defensively, taking the inside track on that. Haslam cannot make that pass happen. Sai Sudakar in meantime overtakes Nazmir Aslan to go into P5. Haslam locks up his brakes there. He's going to lose a bit of time. He's really trying to make a pass happen there. But this battle is going to cause Nokam and Cruz to slowly inch their way towards the front of the pack. We are now down to the last 7 minutes of the sprint. And you can see here, it's a relatively low state, but at the same time, it's also extremely intense. I used incredibly...
Oh no, I thought Cruz actually nearly went into the side of him for a second. He just went straight at him.
Yeah, bit of a shot there, and I think that might cost him a position there as Nokov is trying to make a pass at him. Doesn't have the slipstream, neither will have the slipstream, but Cruz slightly forcing Nokov out and taking a wide line, manages to hold on to the position by pressure.
Fair move though, because he didn't really go side by side, hitting each other. So that was a good defense from Cruz. Now he will try to rework his way back up to the back of Damari Haslam and Aldo Balagulan. Balagulan though has been holding on to the lead longer than we expected.
Yeah, definitely good race for him this particular session. You can see Haslam again. It's just his kryptonite, I think, this particular corner.
There's green stuff on the outside, so it is kryptonite.
I also noticed, like earlier on, when I was trying to say how incredibly intense, I used incredibly. I was thinking of using incredibly, but what came out of my mouth was extremely. And as a result of that, both of those words ended up in weird form of alphabet soup that I don't think I like.
No, it would taste like 14-year-old canned soup.
Anyway, Haslam here again trying to make a move there. Doesn't lock up this time, so he should be able to make some time here. Balagulan is still driving quite defensively. He sees Haslam in his mirror. He's under pressure, but what he doesn't see are the 2 undercars that are also behind Haslam.
Indeed, you're right to point that out. He would know that there's 2 extra cars and a third one if you include that Sudakar is actually reeling them in slightly because they're battling right now.
Yeah, a lot of dirty air, not a lot of very good places to get slipstream there. You see Alan Drake slowly approaching the tail of Damari Haslam.
And Balagulan locked up, so he's under pressure. Now there's actually a chance for Cruz to overtake. Coming up through the Wellington Straight. Haslam doesn't defend. He goes onto the inside. Would this be a move for Alan Drake Cruz or Haslam defense? They're going at it side by side, still through Brooklands onto Luffield. And Haslam still holds on. Yes, he still holds on for P2.
Oh, this is close. This is very close. But Alan Drake Cruz might have the faster line outside of this. Haslam might force him a little bit out, but doesn't seem to defend very much. As Alan Drake Cruz pulls a Haslam on that particular corner.
Yep. And now they're still side by side since Brooklands. Amazing racing here between the Filipino and the Indonesian.
Yeah,
but it's the Filipino who's actually come out on top.
Yeah, Alan Drake Cruz had to give a bit of space there, otherwise Haslam was going to barrel him straight into the wall.
Wow, and out of all of that, Balagulan has made a beeline for it. He's 1.3 seconds ahead.
4.5 minutes left on the sprint, and you can see here Balagulan just taking advantage of the fact that the cars, 3 cars behind him are fighting really intensely with one another. And Nocom biding his time, waiting to see if he can mount an attack. He's still right on the tail of Alan Drake Cruz right now.
Yep, indeed. Alan Drake Cruz is on the attack. The Nocom likewise is attacking as well. We saw both of them going side by side through the Wellington Straight at one point. Now Alan Drake Cruz is actually having an opportunity here to try and get second place away. But Hasnam, equally good in his defense. Very clean, not too robust, just enough.
Oh, walking up there, losing a bit of time.
Yes. Oh, we haven't seen a gold and silver race this intense in a while now. And they're being brought up to the front here. Cruz coming onto the inside.
He's going to make a move at the same corner he did last lap in the Brooklyn's Benz here. Trying to make a move at Haslam. Wasn't able to get a nice line on the exit. Haslam will secure his position still.
Yeah, and look at that. Sudhakar is coming back into play here. So the top 4 from race 1 are at it again. As Cruz goes around the outside. Does he make it? Yes, he does.
Oh.
What a move.
Oh.
That was an incredible move there from the young Filipino. He really took the fight to Haslam.
contact!
Oh, the finisher!
Oh no, that is disaster for Alan Drake Cruz there. I think Haslam may have not seen him there. Ooh, that was a bit of an unsafe rejoin there, but he really needed to make up his time.
And look at that, 3 wide coming on through the hanger straight through Stowe. Is it going to be clean this time? Haslam somehow manages to maintain second place, but Cruz with such a beautiful maneuver there has unfortunately had to chuck it in the bin because of a huge incident coming from Maggots and Beckett's.
Yeah, I think that might be a bit of a protest coming in there later on, but you can see there the considerable amount of pressure these drivers are under trying to make things happen. And out of all of that, Sai Sudhakar is back in 3rd place. Alan Drake Cruz actually dropped to P8 because of that. And I think he might have to call it.
No, he's actually got taken out. Yes, he will call it, but he was taken out by another driver out of our sight. It might have been near front, no Hidayat or IID Vishnu. Whatever it is, it was such a promising result to that point. Gone begging. Now we're going to have to focus on back up to the front. 2 laps to go here. Balagulan is now checked out. He's clear. He's run away from Hotel California.
Yeah. A really sad set of circumstances for Alan Drake Cruz there. Nocom, on the other hand, still staying in that 4th place. It's just that the car he's fighting for 3rd place now is a completely different person.
Yeah, Sudhakar managed to sneak his way through out of all of that. And he went 3 wide coming up to the hanger straight. Wow-wee. That is the most intense bit of racing we've seen in gold and silver in a while.
Yeah, especially happening on the penultimate round of the season here. Sai Sudhakar. You can see the lines that he takes. Actually, quite a lot. Very neat. You can see that.
Yeah, narrower too, actually.
Yeah.
He uses the curves a bit more, of course, just letting the car step out a bit. So that's his skill set, that he keeps the car pointing in the right direction. But now he's going to have to do that even more here as he's fighting a compromised Mario Haslam.
Yeah, definitely. He's trying to close the gap a little bit there. And your point about the curves is quite an interesting one to note, because you need to drive cars this fast and this low to the ground. I've always been told that you should try to avoid curves at any cost.
Yep. But sometimes you can't get away with it, especially if the curves are a bit more tapered.
Yeah. Because as a North Slifer, you can't do that.
Of course, it's way too
North
high.
Slifer, the curves are super high.
Raised curves, as they called it. As now, we're on to the final lap here. Sudhakar pressuring Haslam this time. Can he make the move stick as when Nocom and Cruz couldn't? But Cruz did make the move stick. It's just unfortunate that they had to collide.
Yeah, he did. That was still an unfortunate incident for him. But because of that, I think Nocom might just do a little bit better than him at the end of this race. Won't get as much points as race 1, but that does mean that he'll be a little bit closer to Cruz. And I think this is a pretty strong rivalry they have.
Oh yeah, definitely. Considering the fact that with that collision, it might just flare up a few tempers along the way. But still pretty close here between Sai Prithvi Sudhakar and Demaria Haslam. We can see all the development in just 2 seconds ahead. They can still manage to keep up with him as Sudhakar sees Haslam going to the grass a bit. Now he might want to try coming up to the final few corners.
He's on the slipstream. He might try to make a move happen. Not close enough to try and dive for that corner, so Haslam is safe for now. As we are on the last lap, which is Balagulan will cross the finish line as soon as he completes this lap. Got exactly 10 laps here. Oh, Haslam locks up his brakes.
We're going to have to focus on the leader because Balagulan then screams across the line, makes his turn for home, and takes his first win of the season. What a way to do so. with such a convincing performance. Hasnam crossed the line second, Sudakar third, Nocom fourth as Nocom has a bit of afters with Hasnam there. Nazmir Aslan wins in silver in fifth with Ariadi Vishnu behind, sixth, seventh is Irfan Hidayat, and eighth, Alan Drake Cruz, who felt absolutely disconsolate by that, and I think we might have a bit of a word with Demario Aslan. Oh, we have a bit of collision there in the background. We're watching Aldo Balagun right now, but I think we might get something with Demario Hasnam if he's available. Demario, he's turned off his camera, unfortunately. Now we're gonna see Alan Drake Cruz again, so it's a bit of a mixed bag here. Such a good first race, and then, well, we'll have to let his words speak for his behalf. Oh no, he's actually turned off his camera as well, so, oh, never mind. They're getting a bit of
Let's see if we can talk to Nazmir Aslan.
yeah, Vishnu's also left, I think,
Yep.
this one.
Yeah.
So, well, in other cases, we might just get the winner in silver, the Nazmir Aslan, for the first time on camera. Or is it Alan Drake Cruz if he wants to unmute himself? We can get two people on board. Nope. Okay, so we'll probably get Nazmir Aslan on board. So, Nazmir, yes, he's smiling at last. We can see a bit of a smile here. Nazmir, can you hear us?
Has he got the mic yet? I don't think he can hear us. I don't think he can hear us, but we can't hear him yet.
Hello, hello.
Yeah,
there we go.
we can hear him.
Okay.
Yep, so,
I
yeah.
can unmute myself there.
Yeah, okay, no problem. Nazmir, congratulations on the win in silver. That's your first ever win in the RGP proper. Yeah.
Oh, really? I won?
Yeah. You are the winner in silver.
Silver,
Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
silver.
I was like, I finished fifth overall. I didn't actually keep track of my position in silver. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, because the other guys in front of you are a gold driver, so you're the first driver across the line in silver. So, happy with that
Wow.
win. Can you take us through your race? As it looked quite wild there, especially what was happening to the guys in second to fourth.
So yeah, first race, I felt like I was off the pace. I feel like I was so left out to every single driver in front of me. So, finished 12, and in second race, I started 12 as well. But in the second race, I had much more confidence. I kept myself out of trouble, and stay clean throughout the race, and had some couple of good defending with other drivers too, good battles. So yeah, I actually didn't know I actually won the silver class, but I'm definitely proud of that. I'm very grateful.
Indeed, I think this is your first ever win in the RGP as well. So, yep, you can take that as a positive from this point on.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Definitely.
certainly a great way to watch, and hopefully more to come.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that, mate. Now
You're
then.
welcome.
Oh, he looks so happy with that one, and I'll be ecstatic as well if I have my first win without knowing it. But yeah, that's actually pretty positive for me because he had quite a tough couple of seasons prior to this, so this is probably a breakthrough performance for him, isn't it? He
Yeah.
kept his nose clean throughout. He had a fight with Nocom at one point, but kept it clean afterwards.
Yeah, the most important thing, again, as we mentioned at the beginning of his race, at the beginning of his league, is that consistency is key, and being able to keep your head out of trouble. As we've seen some very fast racers end up having the race fall apart in front of them because of a minor incident, and that is really unfortunate on their behalf, of course.
Exactly. But closing words, Damon. How do you feel about today's races? I think this was probably the best gold and silver race.
Honestly, like every race tonight has been very intense, very fun watch, very exciting. I'm honestly like really looking forward to what might happen next week.
Indeed. So the next round is the last week of this particular season, and we'll be looking forward to see you all next week for that one. We'll decide the track on Monday, but for me, I'm Ozik, alongside me, Damon Tom. It's goodbye for now, and we'll see you next week.
See ya.